Chapter 356. This was the first time he fought an overwhelming prodigy, and Zhao Feng was in danger like never before. The difference in strength meant that he had no chance of winning. Those watching could see that Goddess Bingwei hadn't used her full strength, or else Zhao Feng would have been kicked out or even killed. Blood-hair-colored Tianma had warned Zhao Feng to admit defeat before he went up. Losing in front of an overwhelming prodigy wasn't shameful at all. For many geniuses, it was even an honor. The legend of the northern continent, Mo Tianyi, gave up after one move against an overwhelming prodigy. This was a wise choice for the big picture. Zhao Feng, why don't you admit defeat? Although you're not an overwhelming prodigy's match, I believe you have the ability to admit defeat. Blood-hair-colored Tianma sat on the spectating stand and couldn't help but feel anxious. Tianma knew Zhao Feng's talent and potential. Although it couldn't be compared to Yu Tianhao, it wasn't impossible for him to become an overwhelming prodigy in another 10 years. At least in this sacred true dragon gathering, no one had done better than Zhao Feng. At this moment in time, in the ancient arena, countless gazes were fixed on the northern arena. Even the venerables on the oval-shaped platform in the air were watching with interest. Admit defeat? Zhao Feng obviously knew that this was a wise decision. But in the depths of his heart, there was a voice, a force, a stubborn conviction that made him realize that saying the word surrender was harder than ascending to the heavens. Looking back at his life, from the Green Leaf Village to Sun Feather City to the Guanjuan Province, Broken Moon Clan, 13 Clan Banquet, and now the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. Suddenly, Zhao Feng realized that he had never truly admitted defeat. Even when he was beaten by Zhao Kuan, when he first entered the Zhao clan, he had never truly admitted defeat. The Broken Moon clan was just playing house, and purposely lost to Sister Ran. It was because of this determination that Zhao Feng had been able to surpass geniuses one after another. I can lose, but I won't admit defeat. Zhao Feng suddenly realized that this was his obsession. Lightning Fire God Eye. A faint azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. Boom! A ball of faint azure lightning fire landed on Goddess Bingwei's body, causing a low rumble. Now that he had comprehended the root of profound principle, the lightning fire god's eyes might have risen, and he was even more familiar with using it. Even peerless prodigies couldn't dodge the eye flame secret technique's activation speed. Many people exclaimed as they saw the half-transparent faint azure lightning fire burn on Goddess Bingwei's body. Profound ice jade charming body. Goddess Bingwei smiled proudly. Her skin was like ice and crystal jade, smooth like glass and sparkling with light. Qi. The power of thunder and fire wreaked havoc on her body, but she remained unscathed. Everyone was stunned. Zhao Feng's eye flame secret technique could instantly kill any existence under the true mystic rank and cause lethal damage to normal true mystic ranks. The power of the lightning fire was extremely strong, but it couldn't break through Goddess Bingwei's defense. One Goddess Bingwei's eyebrows furrowed as her jade-like body released a cold power that extinguished the lightning and fire. So, although the lightning fire god's eye couldn't injure her body, it had entered the mental energy dimension and almost injured her mind. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline flame could pierce through both the physical world and the mental energy world at the same time. This Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body can ignore attacks from normal true mystic ranks. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, the number of people that can break through her defense can be counted on one hand. Zhao Feng concluded and couldn't help but take a cold breath. The other 4 geniuses among the peerless geniuses were startled seeing this. This meant that with the mystic ice jade charming body, even if Goddess Bingwei let her opponent attack normal early-stage true mystic ranks, or even late-stage true mystic ranks wouldn't be able to harm her. Luckily, Zhao Feng's goal had been reached. Using this time, 3-flowered treasured lotus. A 3-colored lotus appeared under Zhao Feng's feet. With the 3-flowered treasured lotus, Zhao Feng's defense increased greatly. He circulated his bloodline power, and his qi of true spirit soon returned to normal. The 3-flowered treasured lotus extended out green, blue and purple petals that formed a 3-colored barrier. This way, Zhao Feng's danger was temporarily resolved. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. Goddess Bingwei recovered, and a ball of cold wind shot over. Boom! Zhao Feng didn't dodge and took it head-on. The three-colored barrier of the three-flowered treasured lotus started to creak. The icy figure and the frozen throne behind him flickered as they frantically absorbed and converted the cold energy into ice energy. Zhao Feng still felt a terrifying coldness enter his body. Luckily his bloodline skill could absorb the cold energy. Goddess Bingwei paused slightly. She didn't think that Zhao Feng would be able to use the lightning fire god's eye to win some time and resolve the danger. Mystic Ice Demon Suppressing Mountain. Goddess Bingwei's aura rose as she waved her hand, and an icy light flashed in the air as a giant ice mountain smashed down from the sky. The power of this move was twice as strong as before, and could suppress enemies, as well as targets with strong defense. Not good. Zhao Feng's expression changed as he felt an even more terrifying pressure. It was as if there was an ice mountain in the north that couldn't be blocked by humans. Break! Zhao Feng circulated his qi of true spirit and bloodline power, and waved his arms, sending out a powerful mystic flower lightning palm that clashed head-on with the ice mountain. Boom! Zhao Feng's strongest attack blossomed in the air like a flower of ice and lightning. This palm contained the essence of the lightning inheritance and mystic flower treasured Bible. His bloodline power was also pushed to the limit. In that instant, the ice mountain above Xiao Chen's head stopped moving, and cracks appeared on its surface. What a powerful attack! The combination of the power of ice and lightning contains another profound power. That brat hasn't even reached the late stages of the true human rank, but can release a palm that can heavily injure someone at the early stages of the true mystic rank. The geniuses in the ancient arena, including some of the spectators, were shocked. This move of mine is a continuous attack. A bone-chilling voice resounded across the arena. The cracks on the huge ice mountain rapidly healed. Drawing upon the profound mysteries of heaven and earth, it smashed down once more. Not good. Zhao Feng couldn't dodge, and could only circulate his qi of true spirit and bloodline power. In that instant, the ice mountain pressed down on Zhao Feng's head. If it wasn't for the three-flowered treasured lotus and the ice throne, Zhao Feng would have already been pressed to the ground and suppressed by Goddess Bingwei. Under this situation, Zhao Feng could only furiously circulate his qi of true spirit and bloodline power. However, the cold energy and the heavy pressure persisted. His face turned red from the suffocation. Wu, the ice-light figure behind him, kept on absorbing and converting the coldness, and was under great pressure. Within his body, the faint blue blood was being corroded by the coldness, and absorbed even more coldness, and suddenly felt restless. Zhao Feng found that the restless coldness in his bloodline power was becoming stronger and stronger. His bloodline power was enduring the pressure of an iceberg. Under the effects of the icy figure and the throne, it was still absorbing the cold energy. At this moment, it was in an unstable state, throbbing with pain. The faint blue blood swelled up strangely and flickered brightly. Zhao Feng felt his power become stronger and stronger, and the coldness in his bloodline became more and more restless. This continued for several breaths, until the pressure on Zhao Feng's body and bloodline reached a peak. At the same time, Goddess Bingwei shouted and slapped with her jade hand. The giant ice mountain's light brightened, and the mysteries of the ice mountain were strengthened once again. Wah! Zhao Feng spat out a mouthful of blood, and the bloodline power in his body seemed to find an opening. Wang! Zhao Feng felt his body rumble, and the faint blue blood in his body suddenly started to crystallize. The bloodline power in his body started to glitter. The surface of Zhao Feng's skin also released a faint blue glow, and the lines on it were exquisite like a layer of crystal. Boom! Zhao Feng's power rose dramatically, and the coldness in his bloodline became uncontrollable as he faced the ice mountain head-on, and finally passed this danger. Tiema on the spectating stand let out a long breath with a complex expression. It's because of this pressure that his bloodline power has evolved. The awakening of bloodline power was an extremely difficult process, even harder than breaking through to the next rank. However, many geniuses awakened their bloodline power, or atavism, or strengthened their bloodline power when they were in a life-and-death situation or under immense pressure. Wang Xiaoguai was a representative of this. He fought without any regard for his life. This was the first time that Zhao Feng's bloodline power had truly evolved and returned to its ancestral state. At the end of the day, his path had been too smooth, and he hadn't met any dangerous situations. Under this situation, the first evolution of his bloodline power was just a matter of time. After the evolution of his bloodline power, Zhao Feng's strength and coldness had both greatly increased. Zhao Feng finally stopped the ice mountain above his head. The silhouette of the icy light and the frozen throne behind him became clearer. They protected and absorbed the cold energy, sharing more of the pressure. At the critical moment, this brat's bloodline power has evolved. Goddess Bingwei was shocked and enraged. The source of all this was her. If it wasn't for her mystic ice power, if it wasn't for the pressure she brought, Zhao Feng wouldn't have such a chance. Brat, it's useless. Even if you break through another rank, it won't change anything. Goddess Bingwei's eyes went cold as she waved her hand and connected with the mysteries of the heaven and earth. The ice mountain figure's size increased to 40 to 50 yards, and the coldness increased. Not good. Zhao Feng, admit defeat. Tiamo's expression changed dramatically. Goddess Bingwei had been holding back, and now she was finally going to go crazy. However, Zhao Feng didn't admit defeat, and instead smiled. His hands released the power of ice and lightning to support the ice mountain figure. On the other side, he slowly closed his eyes. Within his dantian, his source of true spirit was being expended. But at the same time, the other source of true spirit, which was even purer and more powerful, was providing him with energy. This was the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, the trump card that Zhao Feng hadn't used yet. Break through another rank. As you wish. Zhao Feng suddenly took a deep breath, and the source of true spirit in his dantian released an even stronger chi of true spirit. The bottleneck to the late stages of the true human rank was like a piece of paper, easily broken. Chapter 357. This guy has indeed broken through. From every corner of the ancient arena came a flood of voices. The geniuses below the northern stage were stunned. This was too fake. Breaking through just like that. Not only did his bloodline power revert back to its ancestor level, it was also due to the pressure. Now he had broken through a small realm in succession. It was truly inconceivable. On the stage, the 9 sovereigns had been paying attention to the northern zone mostly because of the overwhelming prodigy, Goddess Bingwei. Then the battle was full of surprises. In the past sacred true dragon gatherings, there have been cases of geniuses breaking through due to pressure. However, it's extremely rare for both to happen to the same person. The sovereigns clicked their tongues. Wait. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord shook his head faintly. This Zhao Feng's bloodline awakening is an accident, but his cultivation increasing is controlled. Sovereign Yu Xingchen smiled. The deputy palace lord is right. This brat's mental energy level far surpasses his cultivation, and is forming his root of law. He's long reached the early stages of the true human rank, and breaking through to the late stages is no problem at all. On the northern stage, wisps of pure chi of true spirit appeared in Zhao Feng's dantian, and along with his bloodline power, his strength rose dramatically. Pung! Zhao Feng roared as his palms blocked the ice mountain in the air, and passed through another crisis. How is this possible? Goddess Bingwei's expression alternated between green and red. It was unknown whether it was from anger or shock and regret. Zhao Feng did as she wished, and broke through just like that. In reality, Zhao Feng had been comprehending his root of law, and his mental energy level kept increasing. His cultivation had reached the early stages of the true human rank, and he had the requirements to break through to the late stages. However, Zhao Feng also understood that reaching the late stages of the true human rank didn't increase his strength, so he wasn't in a rush to break through. All his time was used to form his root of law. This was the most important part of his plan. However, under the immense pressure, Zhao Feng used the explosive power of his bloodline to break through this layer of paper. Mystical ice demon subduing mountain, Goddess Bingwei exclaimed, and with a wave of her hand, a second even larger ice mountain descended from the air and piled on top of the damaged ice mountain. What? This move can be stacked. Zhao Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. His palms burst forth with even more beautiful ice and thunder flowers, and he slammed them upwards. Rumble! Zhao Feng's entire body swayed, and the ice thunder flower shadows that erupted from his palms instantly shattered. Kacha! Immediately after, the three-flowered treasured lotus tricolored flower shadow barrier suddenly dimmed and shattered. Cracks appeared on the ice-light figure and throne behind him, dimming somewhat. Wow! Zhao Feng spat out a mouthful of blood, suffering some light injuries. This was also thanks to the layers of defense in front of him, especially the absorption of cold energy by the bloodline secret skill. Otherwise, with such a difference in power, he would have been turned into ice. Lightning Fire God Eye. At this critical moment, Zhao Feng advanced instead of retreating. A faint blue lightning flame flashed in his left eye. Boom! A half-transparent blue lightning flame that was even stronger than last time landed on Goddess Bingwei's body. Goddess Bingwei didn't have time to react, and was burned by the lightning flame. Mystic Ice Jade charming body. Her skin seemed to be made of ice jade, and under the burning of the lightning flame, only left behind imperceptible marks. This was because she had obtained the essence of the Mystic Ice inheritance, and cultivated the Mystic Ice Jade charming body. If it was a normal true mystic rank, they would have been killed by the lightning flame already. Even so, the lightning flame eroded Goddess Bingwei's mental energy dimension, and slightly injured her mind. Goddess Bingwei's eyebrows furrowed as the burning pain in her mind was extremely clear. With the increase in cultivation and bloodline, Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye this time was stronger than before. Destroy! She gritted her teeth, and the icy blue light around her body extinguished the lightning and fire. Using this time, Zhao Feng furiously circulated his source of true spirit and bloodline power to form another layer of defense. My chi of true spirit can't keep up. The pressure on Zhao Feng increased as he faced Goddess Bingwei's pressure. The biggest difference between him and Goddess Bingwei wasn't cultivation, not cultivation method, not bloodline but cultivation. Under this situation, Zhao Feng could only use the Water Moon Pirate's sealed source of true spirit. Large amounts of pure source of true spirit flowed into Zhao Feng's dantian. At the same time in his mind, the embryonic root of profound mysteries contained a unique comprehension of the profound mysteries. It could communicate with the might of the heavens and earth, increasing the might of one's moves. Woo! Suddenly, the faint azure line in Zhao Feng's mind suddenly became brighter and more condensed. Zhao Feng was surprised. That semi-finished root of profound mystery had met with some resistance at the final juncture of its condensation. It was lacking in maturity, so why was it suddenly advancing now? What was the reason? Zhao Feng was dazed by this sudden surprise. Wu Buang Zhao Feng's profound intent could be felt increasing, and the heaven-earth yuan qi around him became more active. In his mental energy world, the transparent faint azure line condensed and brightened. Both its length and thickness had increased. Boom! Zhao Feng thrust out his palm, and the power of ice and lightning blossomed, as if it had its own life. Its power was twice as long as before. The same move, the same power. If the duration was doubled, the continuous destructive power would also be doubled. This was the transformation that had occurred to Zhao Feng. That brat's forming his root of law. How is this possible? He's only at the late stages of the true human rank, and he's already forming a root of law. The geniuses below the northern stage sensed something and their eyes went wide. At this point in time, the aura from Zhao Feng's body became more and more obvious. The ripples of heaven-earth yuan qi nearby became more active. From the looks of it, his root of law was about to be formed. What's the reason that made me break through the bottleneck? Zhao Feng wasn't blinded by joy. There must be a reason if something was wrong. At this moment, his god's spiritual eye scanned his body and quickly analyzed. In almost an instant, Zhao Feng found the culprit. The Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. So that's how it is. The root of law is formed on the basis of the source of true spirit. The root of profound, that I condensed simultaneously fused the profound mysteries of the lightning inheritance and the mystic flower treasured Bible. However, the majority of my source of true spirit is from the lightning inheritance, and I lack the source of true spirit from the mystic flower treasured Bible. A light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes, and he couldn't help but tremble with excitement. The truth had been revealed. Zhao Feng didn't train in the mystic flower treasured Bible, and lacked the source of true spirit. This caused him to merge the essences of two great skills, and form the root of law. It was extremely difficult, and he was stuck at the last step. But now, what Zhao Feng lacked had arrived. The Water Moon Pirate had trained in the mystic flower treasured Bible, and his fame spread far and wide. What he had left behind was the source of true spirit. After this condition was met, the root of law in Zhao Feng's mind was no longer obstructed and started to grow. With a thought, the root of law in his mind was extremely compatible with the true source of true spirit. The plan has succeeded. Zhao Feng was overjoyed and his battle intent rose. Blue-haired brat, it's useless. Even if you formed the root of law, you don't have enough true force and cultivation. It's like the moon in the water. Goddess Bingwei's smile was filled with coldness and mockery. She didn't care if Zhao Feng reached the late stages of the true human rank, or formed the root of law. The difference in strength between her and Zhao Feng was far too great. Breaking through one or two minor realms would be of no use. Ha ha ha. Who says I don't? Zhao Feng roared into the sky, and his root of law formed. His every action connected to the mysteries of the heavens and earth. Suddenly, an incomparably powerful true spirit aura was released from his body, faintly shaking the entire stage. This aura instantly surpassed the true human rank, and even surpassed Bing Shueiyue, Ma Tiansen and company at the true mystic rank. In one leap, Zhao Feng's aura was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank. It wasn't just his mental energy aura. Even his chi of true spirit was the same. What's going on? What's going on? Damn, this brat's cultivation has suddenly increased. The northern zone, and the entire ancient arena broke out into chaos. Expressions of disbelief and shock were on their faces. Break! Zhao Feng thrust out his palm, and the figure of lightning and ice blossomed into a terrifying flower of ice and lightning that seemed to have its own intelligence. The flower of ice and lightning became bigger and bigger. Crack! The two large ice mountains above his head were shattered by Zhao Feng's palm. How is this possible? Goddess Bingwei was shocked and in disbelief. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. She didn't believe it and waved her jade-like hand, and a bone-chilling wind swept towards Zhao Feng. Overwhelming prodigy. Come, let's have a big battle. Zhao Feng laughed and thrust out a palm that complemented the laws of the heavens and earth. In a split second, the terrifying lightning ripples spread out for a radius of 1 li. They multiplied endlessly, like a magnificent flower, their power unending. Boom! Boom! Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei faced off, and the remaining power was enough to instantly kill normal cultivators at the true spirit realm. How is this possible? He's crossed an entire realm. Could he have hidden his cultivation? Goddess Bingwei's face was full of anger, and her words were almost incoherent. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Feng's foundation was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank. What was going on? Not only was Goddess Bingwei unable to accept this, even the geniuses present were speechless. However, this was the reality in front of them. Normally speaking, in order to determine a person's cultivation, one needed to look at their mental energy level and true force. Did Zhao Feng have the mental energy level of the early stages of the true mystic rank? He did. His mental energy level was comparable to the true mystic rank long ago, and his root of law had merged the essences of two different skills. Therefore, his root of law was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank, and was stronger than Bing Shueiyue. Then, did Zhao Feng have the true force of the early stages of the true mystic rank? So did he. One had to know that the Water Moon Pirate's cultivation was close to the true Lord rank at his peak. The Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit had even surpassed the early stages of the true mystic rank. However, in order to truly control this source of true spirit, there were two conditions. Firstly, one had to have enough mental energy to form the root of law. Secondly, the element of the root of law had to be the same as the mystic flower treasure Bible. Unfortunately, Zhao Feng already had these two conditions. Chapter 358. At this moment, the miracles and impossibilities of the ancient arena gathered on the blue-haired youth of the northern stage. In the blink of an eye he had gone from the early stages of the true human rank to the early stages of the true mystic rank. Northern stage. Boom! Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei faced each other, and the two powerful auras clashed on the stage made it hard for the geniuses below to breathe. True mystic rank mental energy level. True mystic rank root of law. True mystic rank source of true spirit. From the surface, Zhao Feng was no different from the early stages of the true mystic rank. The plan has succeeded. Reaching the top 10 and challenging overwhelming prodigies is no longer a dream. Zhao Feng's heart was filled with excitement, and his every action connected to the heaven and earth, and released the chi of true spirit of the true mystic rank, increasing his strength by several times. When Zhao Feng found that his mental energy level was high enough to form a root of law, he had a flash of inspiration, and had this bold plan. At that time, Zhao Feng's thought was that once he formed the root of law, apart from his true force cultivation, there wouldn't be much difference between him and the true mystic rank. However, he still had the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. After forming the root of law and controlling the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, how much difference would there be between him and the true mystic rank? This plan was shockingly bold, and it was a godlike turn of events. Once successful, everything was possible for Zhao Feng in this sacred true dragon gathering, and he could even challenge the overwhelming prodigies. Of course, apart from luck, there were two other important factors for this plan to succeed. 1. Forming the root of law, and merging the essence and intent of the mystic flower treasured Bible. 2. The water moon pirate's source of true spirit. Neither of the two could be missing, and both were extremely harsh. Normal experts at the true spirit realm wouldn't be able to keep their source of true spirit when they died, and wouldn't be able to give it to others. However, the water moon pirate had the heaven's legacy inheritance's sealing technique that could seal his source of true spirit in a special state. This was the water moon pirate's meticulous plan to give a generous gift to the inheritor of the mystic flower treasured Bible. Although Zhao Feng didn't cultivate the mystic flower treasured Bible, he had inherited the source of true spirit in a different way. Wonderful. Truly exquisite. Tiamat, who was at the spectator stand, slammed the table and stood up. He was excited and pleased, which was rarely seen. As the deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion, Tiamat obviously knew about Zhao Feng's past. Now when Zhao Feng's results came out, Tiamat naturally guessed most of it. Tiamat was not the only one who clapped the table and cheered. Those who were familiar with Zhao Feng, those who knew Zhao Feng personally, and those who thought highly of Zhao Feng, were all shouting and cheering at the same time. Too strong. Junior brother Zhao, you've once again subverted the understanding of the world. On the spectating stand, Yang Gan's eyes were brimming with tears, and his voice was trembling. Ever since he had come to the sacred true dragon gathering, he had watched each of Zhao Feng's battles. Yang Gan faintly understood why First Elder had sent him to watch the sacred true dragon gathering. Great! Brother Zhao Feng, you've succeeded! Zhao Yufei cried tears of joy. Lu Qinxin, Dai Yi, Jiang Samfeng and company were overjoyed. The geniuses of the Canopy Great Country such as Prince Jin, Tian Yunji and company were both shocked and proud. Oh my god, this is a miracle! He can't even be described as a black horse. The square-faced youth was filled with excitement and pride. He had always thought highly of Zhao Feng, and didn't agree with senior brother Qin Kunwu. Qin Kunwu's face was filled with shock and speechlessness. The shocking turn of events in the northern region arena had shaken the entire ancient arena, igniting the blood of countless young geniuses. Zhao Feng, challenge an overwhelming prodigy. We'll support you. The cheers of the crowd were like the tide. The legend of the overwhelming prodigy was like a shadow that shrouded the geniuses of this era. And Zhao Feng was this miraculous horse. He had reversed the situation like a god, and was charging at an overwhelming prodigy. In the air above the arena on the stage. Unbelievable. The source of true spirit sealed within his body is probably a secret technique from the heaven's legacy inheritance. He struggled step by step, and didn't admit defeat even when he knew he was going to lose. This determination and perseverance is the prerequisite for him to create miracles. The sovereign sighed. If Zhao Feng thought he was going to lose and admitted defeat right from the start, would there still be a chance for him to create miracles? However, the word admit defeat didn't exist in Zhao Feng's dictionary. He could lose, but he couldn't admit defeat. Thinking up to here, Tianma on the spectating stand couldn't help but think. He remembered how he had given up and admitted defeat time and time again. If he had persevered back then, he might be at the origin core realm right now. Mo Tianyi had the same thoughts. His fists were clenched, and his body was trembling. Mo Tianyi suddenly realized that he was lacking something. When he faced the overwhelming prodigy Yu Tianhao, he admitted defeat in one move. At that time, he could see the faint disappointment on Yu Tianhao's face. Compared to the difference between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei, the difference between him and Yu Tianhao wasn't that big. Good. Only an opponent like this is worthy of respect. Yu Tianhao's eyes flashed. There was a battle thirst in his blood that burned, and the will in his eyes was stronger than ever. Yu Tianhao stood at the peak of the continent and was said to be unparalleled for dozens of generations. At the same time, he had surpassed the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch and Sword Saint Yi Wuxia, the #1 genius in history. Everyone glanced over. This cold and lonely peerless genius was praising and admiring someone for the first time. Unknowingly, everyone's evaluation of Zhao Feng went up another level. Yu Xingqian, the bloodline of your Yu family is a wonder of the heavens and earth. It can't be touched, but it does exist. This son of yours has some potential. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord said with interest. In the ancient era, my Yu family had a bloodline ancestor called Yu Wushuang, who was said to be unparalleled in the world. His will was to be unparalleled in the world. Sovereign Yu Xingqian said with yearning. Then did Yu Wushuang do it? One of the venerables at the side teased. There was no such thing as being truly unparalleled. He did succeed, but in the end, he was unable to advance any further and died alone. This is the ancestral teaching of my Yu family, passed down from generation to generation. Yu Xingqian said solemnly. The sovereign's present couldn't help but think after hearing this. The Yu Wushuang that Yu Xingqian was talking about was just a legend. Whether or not Yu Wushuang was unparalleled wasn't the main point, but the meaning of the teachings. Northern stage. Zhao Feng's every move contained the root of law that he had comprehended in his life, and connected with the mysteries of heaven and earth. Ta! He roared, and each of his attacks contained the cultivation of the early stages of the true mystic rank. In a battle between experts, everyone's cultivation was the most basic strength. Secondly, skills, bloodline power and weapons were all factors that increased one's strength. Zhao Feng's current cultivation base was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank, and adding on the root of law and bloodline power, he could kill normal true spirit realm experts with a casual attack. How is this possible? The overwhelming prodigy goddess Bingwei exclaimed in her heart. Her face was filled with shock and doubt, as if she couldn't accept this reality. At the start, she had to hide her strength in case she killed someone on purpose, which would affect her sacred true dragon gathering result. Her plan was to let the poison corrode Zhao Feng's body and turn him into an ice corpse. He wouldn't be able to participate in the sacred true dragon gathering and would die within half a year. However, the plan didn't succeed, and the opponent broke through again and again. The godlike reversal at the end gave her a heavy blow. It seemed that all her hard work and planning had helped increase the strength of her opponent. At this point in time, Goddess Bingwei was using her full strength to fight against Zhao Feng. Goddess Bingwei's bloodline and skill were both strong, and her overall strength was at the top of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. However, the problem was that Zhao Feng's bloodline power could absorb and convert the power of ice, which slightly countered Goddess Bingwei. When the difference in cultivation wasn't too big, Zhao Feng's bloodline power had the advantage. Adding on the fact that Zhao Feng had the protection of the 3-flowered treasured lotus, the higher his cultivation base, the stronger his defense. Back then, the water moon pirate could even block the attacks of a true lord rank for a short amount of time with the 3-flowered treasured lotus. The sad thing was, all of Goddess Bingwei's attacks were of the ice element. Any attack that got close to Zhao Feng would be absorbed by the ice figure and thrown by at least 50%, and even increased the endurance of Zhao Feng's bloodline. Specialization was indeed the best path to the peak. But under the same cultivation, it was sad when a specialization met an all-rounder. Zhao Feng's attacks could pass through the mental energy and physical dimensions. Lightning Fire God's Eye. A faint azure lightning fire flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. Boom! Lightning and fire even stronger than before landed on Goddess Bingwei's body and started to burn. Even though she had the mystic ice jade charming body, she didn't dare be careless. His eye flame is getting stronger and stronger. Goddess Bingwei's body and mind were suffering from a lot of burning pain, especially on the mental level. Even the overwhelming prodigies had to be careful. From this one could see the power of Zhao Feng's lightning fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng didn't chase, and instead tried to absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Only by completely merging with the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit can I be considered a true mystic rank. Zhao Feng wasn't fooled by the power in front of him. From the looks of it, his mental energy level and chi of true spirit had both reached the true mystic rank. But this was all on the surface. Only by completely absorbing the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit and merging it with his body, mental energy and root of law, as well as not rejecting his own mind, energy and mind, would it be considered a success. My true cultivation right now is at most near the peak true human rank. Zhao Feng's heart was clear. Furthermore, his battle with Goddess Bingwei was focused on defense, to reduce the expenditure of his source of true spirit. Zhao Feng could borrow the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, but the more he used, the less he would have. This meant, this source of true spirit was the source of death, and had no ability to regenerate, unless this source of true spirit completely belonged to Zhao Feng, and through Zhao Feng's body, it had the ability to recover. At that time, Zhao Feng would be a true mystic rank. Therefore, Zhao Feng focused on defense, and occasionally used his lightning fire God's Eye to make Goddess Bingwei wary. Secretly, he used his root of law to merge with the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Every bit he converted would increase Zhao Feng's true cultivation by a bit. Chapter 359. Northern Stage. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei were in a stalemate. Being one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice skill surpassed all geniuses of this generation. At least in the ancient arena, there wasn't a second genius that could compare to her in terms of ice elemental skills. However, this was where she was at a disadvantage. Her mystic ice skill was countered by Zhao Feng's bloodline power. Under a situation where the difference in cultivation wasn't too big, Zhao Feng's ice figure and throne had strong resistance against ice, and could absorb it to increase his bloodline power. Adding on the 3-flowered treasured lotus defense, Zhao Feng could last a long time when he was on the defensive. Luckily, the first overwhelming prodigy I met was Goddess Bingwei. If it was any other overwhelming prodigy, even if my plan succeeded, I probably wouldn't be able to last long. Zhao Feng wasn't arrogant enough to think he had reached the level of an overwhelming prodigy. His bloodline's secret art perfectly countered Goddess Bingwei's ice cultivation art and bloodline. This was why he could barely protect himself. The current situation, Goddess Bingwei's overwhelming prodigy strength was still suppressing Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng defended more than attacked, and occasionally used the lightning fire God's Eye to open up the situation and make Goddess Bingwei wary. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't try to attack Goddess Bingwei, but the latter's mystic ice jade charming body's defense was extremely strong, and also had strong resistance against ice attacks. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bingwei's defense was one of the top, and even stronger than Yu Tianhao's. Therefore, Zhao Feng couldn't do anything to Goddess Bingwei, so he focused on defense, and quickly absorbed the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Soon, 100 moves had passed. Zhao Feng had absorbed a portion of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, and his true cultivation was close to the peak true human rank. As long as I completely absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, my cultivation will at least reach the early stages of the true mystic rank. Zhao Feng was secretly delighted. His realm was sufficient, and the concept and profundities contained within the root of profound corresponded with the mystic flower treasured Bible. So there wouldn't be a situation where his realm was unstable. However, as time passed, Zhao Feng discovered a problem. Compared to his own source of true spirit, the water moon pirate's source of true spirit was purer and more abundant. Once he completely absorbed the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, it would change the nature of Zhao Feng's source of true spirit. At that time, Zhao Feng would have to change to the mystic flower treasured Bible. All along, Zhao Feng had focused on the lightning inheritance as his core cultivation, and the mystic flower treasure book was secondary. There were two reasons for this choice. Firstly, in terms of attack power, the lightning inheritance was stronger, and it excelled in speed. Secondly, Zhao Feng had cultivated the lightning inheritance long ago, and had a deep foundation. Furthermore, this inheritance had a certain chance of breaking through to the primal core realm. Only by using the lightning inheritance, as the core, can I guarantee my strength and offensive power. Zhao Feng made a decision without hesitation. This way, Zhao Feng would have to give up a portion of the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, and slow down the speed of absorption. Water moon god peach fan. With a paw, an elegant mountain and water fan appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. Since he had to give up a portion of the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, Zhao Feng wouldn't purposely conserve his chi of true spirit. Hupeng. He waved the mountain and river folding fan in his hand, and layers of ice and lightning fan shadows, with an imposing aura smashed towards Goddess Bingwei like a flood. Goddess Bingwei snickered coldly and pointed out with her jade hand. Tens of thousands of ice arrows shot towards Zhao Feng like a swarm of locusts. Pew pew pew. Those huge ice and thunder fan shadows were instantly riddled with holes. Ice and thunder exploded, and electric waves spread in all directions. Boom! The large area attacks of the true mystic rank clashed on the stage, and the slightest shockwave could heavily injure those at the true spirit realm. Even with the help of the water moon god peach fan, Zhao Feng's attacks were easily destroyed by goddess Bingwei. One had to know. At this point in time, the water moon god peach fan, combined with the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, and the root of law from the two skills, as well as Zhao Feng's bloodline power. Its true power was close to the peak of the water moon pirate. From this one could see that even if the water moon pirate came back to life, he might not be able to beat goddess Bingwei, and might even be at a disadvantage. Chua, chua. The mountain and water fan in Zhao Feng's hand waved, and created half-transparent petals of water and lightning that enveloped goddess Bingwei from all directions. This fan also contains mental energy attacks. Goddess Bingwei's mind went numb, and her blood started to boil. The water moon god peach fan not only had strong offensive power, it also had mental energy attacks. Lightning fire god's eye. A faint azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye as he counterattacked. Boom! The fierce azure lightning flame burned on goddess Bingwei's body, and eroded her mental energy. This counterattack finally stopped goddess Bingwei's pressure on Zhao Feng. Mystic Ice Crystal Illusion Sword. A translucent ice sword suddenly appeared in goddess Bingwei's hand. It was a middle-tier spiritual grade weapon, and it slashed towards Zhao Feng with a wave of cold light. Mystic Ice Crystal Illusion Sword. This is goddess Bingwei's ice elemental weapon from the Mystic Ice inheritance, and can greatly increase the power of ice. The sword is extremely sharp, and can create illusions, and even contains a mental energy attack. Mo Tianyi from the middle zone exclaimed as he looked at Zhao Feng with a complicated gaze. Ever since goddess Bingwei's mystic ice divine technique had reached the peak of her cultivation, and was close to the true lord rank, she rarely used weapons. But now Zhao Feng, a black horse, had forced goddess Bingwei to use her weapon. Facing the ice sword light and the ever-changing illusions, Zhao Feng felt an inexplicable pressure. However, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Her attacks contain illusions that make it hard to tell which is real, and which can pierce through mental energy. Zhao Feng scanned with his left eye and came to a conclusion. In this state, goddess Bingwei's terrifying attacks, illusionary swords, and mental energy combined into one caused the other overwhelming prodigies to pale in fright. However, The sad thing was that Goddess Bingwei was once again countered by Zhao Feng. Firstly, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye destroyed the illusions with one glance. As for the mental energy attack, Zhao Feng could basically ignore it. Zhao Feng was an existence that had stepped into the ancient Tao of the soul and had cultivated mental energy for many years. His god's spiritual eye was immune to mental energy attacks. This way, Goddess Bingwei's weapon only had a sharper attack. This did indeed put more pressure on Zhao Feng. Open! Zhao Feng waved the mountain water fan in his hand. Crack! Crack! The water moon immortal peach fan suddenly turned into the shape of an umbrella. It had a diameter of 3 meters and protected his body as it spun rapidly. Ding ding boom! The umbrella-shaped water moon god peach fan spun rapidly, blocking and diverting the attack. This was the first layer of protection. After that was the second layer of the 3-flowered treasured lotus, which had stronger defense and the ability to move. Shua! The 3-flowered treasured lotus took Zhao Feng and sped towards Goddess Bingwei. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's 2 layers of defense were like a turtle shell, and his bloodline could absorb Goddess Bingwei's attacks. You're courting death. Goddess Bingwei's eyes were cold, and a transparent ice wind appeared in her hand that gave off a forbidden coldness. Zhao Feng knew that this was Goddess Bingwei's killing move. Even with all his defenses, he couldn't block it head-on. Lightning fire God's eye. Boom! A ball of azure lightning fire exploded on Goddess Bingwei's body and eroded her mental energy dimension, interrupting her secret technique. Damn it! Goddess Bingwei gritted her teeth. The only thing she was wary of was Zhao Feng's eye bloodline secret technique, which was instantly activated and turned the situation around. Soon, Zhao Feng's figure neared Goddess Bingwei and secretly circulated the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. The fragrance of the 3-flowered treasured lotus was released. Shameless, Goddess Bingwei smelled the fragrance, and her body became hot as she was affected by the aphrodisiac fragrance. Seeing Goddess Bingwei's figure quickly retreat and maintain a distance from Zhao Feng, the latter closed in step by step. The 3-flowered treasured lotus was indeed worthy of being the water moon pirate's most precious treasure. Although it didn't have any offensive abilities, it had support, defense, and movement abilities. The 3-flowered treasured lotus fragrance is effective on all 3 levels of the true spirit realm. Only those at the true lord rank can resist it. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. He had now inherited the water moon pirate's legacy and controlled most of its essence. As long as a true lord rank didn't appear, he could protect himself easily. If Zhao Feng's cultivation was close to the water moon pirates, then even a true lord rank wouldn't be able to do anything to him. The battle is over. A dignified voice echoed throughout the northern stage like a bell between the heavens and earth. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei were both stunned by a terrifying pressure, and their figures stopped. The two turned their gazes towards the judge. Your duel lasted for an hour and ended in a draw. The judge said expressionlessly. Zhao Feng couldn't help but let out a long breath. He wanted to absorb the water moon pirate's source of true spirit and consolidate his root of law. Goddess Bingwei's face was filled with hatred and killing intent as she gritted her teeth. With the sovereign judge's announcement, the ancient arena was dead silent for a moment before erupting into cheers, as if they were celebrating for Zhao Feng. In this era, the 5 overwhelming prodigies were like a shadow that shrouded countless geniuses. They desperately needed someone who could shake the overwhelming prodigies and break the shadow of the legend. And Zhao Feng was a miraculous dark horse. His godlike turnaround allowed him to charge at the overwhelming prodigies and ultimately win a draw. Although this battle is a draw Bingwei, because you challenged Zhao Feng and lost, you lost twice the normal amount of dragon blessing. Although it's a draw, you'll lose the normal amount of dragon blessing. The judge emotionlessly waved the true dragon flag in his hand. One powerful dragon blessing flowed from the overwhelming prodigy Goddess Bingwei into Zhao Feng's body. In an instant, the true dragon token on Zhao Feng's body released a blinding silver light, and a true dragon light surrounded his body. Chapter 360. The rules of the sacred true dragon gathering were extremely strict. If one challenged someone and didn't follow the rules, they would have to pay a price if they failed. Goddess Bingwei and Zhao Feng ended in a draw, but the former had to pay a part of her dragon blessing. Wang Xiaofeng's dragon blessing instantly rose by 10 times and jumped into the top 20 of the sacred true dragon gathering, on par with Mo Tianyi and Qin Kunwu. The dragon blessing of an overwhelming prodigy is indeed strong. Just losing a small portion was enough to make my strength rise so much. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. After all, the final ranking of the sacred true dragon gathering wasn't based on the number of wins and losses, but the dragon blessing. This meant that Zhao Feng had jumped to the peak of the continent and was only below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. High up in the air on the stage, this brat is unquestionably the number 1 black horse. Hehe, until the very last moment, everything is hard to predict. For example, that Xian Wuheng has been restricting his cultivation. Morong Fan and Song Yuyue from the western zone, and Zhao Yufei, and the Tuoba family's successor from the eastern zone, all have great potential. The eyes of the 9 sovereigns were like torches as they scanned the crowd. They knew which geniuses were hiding something, and which ones had great potential. Zhao Feng was unquestionably the number 1 black horse of this sacred true dragon gathering, but his cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds, and his potential had been squeezed out. On the other hand, Xian Wuheng, Morong Fan, Song Yuyue, Zhao Yufei, and the Tuoba family's successor all had great potential. Right at this moment, in the clouds above the ancient Colosseum, all sorts of blurry images of every shape and form appeared. Another 2 inheritances. Those from the Sacred Alliance watched the changes above. At this point in time, there were a total of 4 inheritance projections, excluding the Scarlet Moon inheritance. Zhao Feng walked off the stage and couldn't help but look at the inheritance projections in the clouds. This is a great era that surpasses the past. Will the most ancient and mysterious Heaven's Legacy inheritance appear? Many experts and geniuses couldn't help but be fascinated. According to legend, every time the Prophet's inheritance appeared, it would cause a great change in the world and affect the situation of the entire continent. However, the inheritance of the Heaven's Legacy had not appeared for a very, very long time. Not long ago, the projection of the Scarlet Moon inheritance was taken by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, and the Sacred Alliance could swallow this humiliation. How could there not be a trace of higher expectations? He returned to the audience. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and focused on consolidating his root of law while slowly absorbing and converting the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. The Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit was purer than Zhao Feng's. If he was assimilated by this source of true spirit, then Zhao Feng would be forced to cultivate the Mystic Flower Treasure Bible, which was something he didn't want to see. Therefore, he first recovered and strengthened his source of true spirit to slow down the absorption of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Every time he absorbed a strand of his source of true spirit, Zhao Feng would use his true spirit lightning flame to refine it and brand it with the lightning inheritance. This way, Zhao Feng wasn't just absorbing, he was also refining. Luckily, Zhao Feng's true spirit lightning flame was extremely strong. It was a peak destructive flame of true spirit that surpassed most spiritual flames. As the 5 zones battle competition came to an end, Zhao Feng continued to refine and absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, using every second to consolidate and increase his cultivation. Finally, before the end of the 5 zones battle competition, Zhao Feng's cultivation had stabilized at the peak true human rank. Any further increase would be very slow, as there was an invisible bottleneck. I've refined 1/3 of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. There's still 2/3 left. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he started to think. Even if he used the true spirit lightning flame to refine the source of true spirit, it would still assimilate with his own source of true spirit. After all, the 2 sources of true spirit were formed from 2 completely different techniques. I can only absorb half of the remaining 2 source of true spirit and have a 50-50 chance of breaking through to the true mystic rank. If I exceed it, my source of true spirit will be assimilated and lose the essence of the lightning inheritance. Zhao Feng's mind kept on calculating. This meant that he had to find a way to use one of the 2 remaining source of true spirit from the Water Moon Pirate. Using it, Zhao Feng's eyes lit up as he had another bold plan. Everyone knew that the source of true spirit was the source of the qi of true spirit. Once it was destroyed, those at the true spirit realm would lose their cultivation. Therefore, the source of true spirit was the essence of an expert at the true spirit realm, and was equivalent to half their life. At the critical moment, I can burn my qi of true spirit, and even the remaining portion of my source of true spirit. What kind of battle power would that have? Thinking up to here, Zhao Feng laughed in his heart. Under normal situations, burning the qi of true spirit would increase one's battle power, but it would harm one's foundation. However, Zhao Feng was going to give up on this part of the source of true spirit. Invisibly, Zhao Feng had another trump card. At this moment, the first round of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering 5 zones has ended. The top 500 will enter the second round True Dragon 100 top. A loud and powerful voice reverberated throughout the ancient arena. The second round was the True Dragon Top 100. Comparatively speaking, this round was much simpler. 100 True Dragon geniuses were chosen. The True Dragon Top 100 was also the origin of the continent's True Dragon geniuses. Only by reaching the top 100 in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering could one be called a True Dragon genius. Top 100. Beimois smiled bitterly. In the first round, he fought many battles, but his winning rate was less than half. This result obviously meant that he wouldn't be able to participate in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. It failed. Dong Shui's eyes were moist. Buzz. Zhao Feng found that his True Dragon token had lit up, and his dragon blessing was rising. Meanwhile, the True Dragon tokens of the losers started to dim, and their dragon blessing started to disappear. Kacha. Kacha. The losers' True Dragon token shattered one by one, and their dragon blessing was taken by the winner. There were at least 3,000 people participating in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, but only 500 advanced to the next round. Zhao Feng felt his dragon blessing become stronger, and a faint golden light appeared on his True Dragon token. The genius dragon luck of the 5 peerless geniuses rose a few zhang into the sky, emitting a brilliant golden glow. Rumble! The ancient Colosseum began to shake violently. The surrounding stone statues and the legendary divine statues emitted a strange energy that seemed to pierce through the heavens and the earth, giving people the illusion that the world was shaking. The geniuses within almost couldn't breathe as they looked up to the sky in awe. The ancient Colosseum was slowly changing. The feeling of the shaking was amplified tenfold by some kind of power. The second round, True Dragon 100 top. Zhao Feng watched the changes in the ancient arena. The 5 arenas sank bit by bit. Finally, they merged into the arena and disappeared. It was truly a coincidence. According to what Zhao Feng knew, the ancient arena was connected to the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. Sometimes, the primordial Colosseum will trigger some unpredictable changes based on the Dragon Providence's situation. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord looked at the stone statues around the ancient arena. Behind each and every one of those stone statues was a legend that shocked the heavens and made ghosts and gods weep. Some of the tallest statues were people from the heavens and earth. This was especially true for the 10 tallest sky-propping stone statues. They seemed to stand side by side with the heavens and the earth, majestic and boundless. They were at least several hundred zhang tall, and some were even close to 10,000 zhang tall. Even the deputy palace lord of the Sacred Alliance had deep respect in his eyes when he looked at these statues. Zhao Feng stared at the ancient arena, and once again had that weird feeling. It was as if the stone statues had a life of their own, and were watching their every move. Boom! A transparent layer of light suddenly appeared in the center of the ancient arena. The transparent membrane slowly expanded, from the initial radius of 1 kilometer to dozens of kilometers. Within the layer of light, one could clearly see the outline of the terrain such as mountains, rivers, lakes, forests, etc. From this angle, it looked like a map, but it was the same as the real thing. This is the ancient spatial domain array, a secret dimension created by the power of the heavens. The space inside the space field spell formation is several times larger than the space in the real world, or even dozens of times larger. The 9 sovereigns were all knowledgeable, and had even been to the outside world. Zhao Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath and open his god's spiritual eye. The ancient spatial domain array was a secret dimension of its own. From the outside, one could clearly see what was going on inside the sky field formation without any obstructions. This feeling was like an illusion of looking down at another world. Just how big is this world and how many new things are there? Zhao Feng felt that ever since he had stepped into the sacred True Dragon gathering, he had come into contact with a completely different world. Shua. The transparent layer of light quickly extended and soon covered the entire ancient arena. The transparent layer of light was like a ripple of water that passed through all the geniuses. Shua. 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 The geniuses all entered a new world, and those with broken True Dragon tokens were all eliminated and moved out of the arena. Zhao Feng found that he was standing on a plain, and there were some dazed geniuses far away. It's the same True Dragon 100 top, but why is it different this time? Mo Tianyi, Prince Jean and the others that had participated in the sacred True Dragon gathering were slightly surprised. Through the spectating stands and the stage in the air, one could clearly see the scene within the transparent layer of light. A total of 500 geniuses were scattered in an independent dimension of 1,000 miles. Some geniuses were in mountain caves, some were in dense forests, some were in the clouds, and some were in rivers. Such a complicated terrain tests one's battle prowess even more. It's no longer an open battle. The 9 sovereigns on the stage observed the situation within the transparent space. What are the rules of this stage? The 500 geniuses were scattered across the transparent space and didn't know what to do. What was wrong? The 9 sovereigns looked at each other and felt that something was wrong. Deputy Palace Lord, not good. The second segment was automatically triggered by the primordial arena. It was different from the previous segments. We've lost control of the sacred True Dragon gathering. A white-bearded sovereign flew over with an anxious look on his face. Chapter 361. We've lost control of the sacred True Dragon gathering. The shocking news made the expressions of the 9 sovereigns change slightly. The sacred alliance was shaken. The first round of the sacred True Dragon gathering battle of 5 zones was completely under the control of the sacred alliance. However, when it came to the second segment, the ancient arena automatically activated, producing some kind of ancient profound understanding power, forming a brand new competition venue. Within the light membrane, there were mountains, rivers, and forests, forming a small space of its own. A total of 500 geniuses were scattered across the secret realm and didn't know what to do. The ancient arena is ancient and mysterious. It's even older than the Sacred Alliance and the 10 great clans. It contains the power of the heavens and earth. The deputy palace master, the bronze-skinned giant, stared at the stone statue mountains around the ancient arena with a face full of respect. But what will happen if we lose control of the sacred True Dragon gathering? If any great changes were to occur, these geniuses are the future of the continent. They are the most glorious generation in all of history. The sovereigns were all worried. The bronze-skinned giant said, "The most important thing right now is to find out what the rules of the second round are." The gazes of the sovereigns turned towards the white-bearded sovereign. "Rules? I'm afraid there are no rules." The white-bearded sovereign smiled bitterly. "No rules." The expressions of the sovereigns changed dramatically. In the second round, the ancient arena had placed all the geniuses into a small dimension. Even the Sacred Alliance couldn't interfere. As for the rules, there were no hints. Could it be that these geniuses can do anything in the spatial zone array? Kill, set fire, gang up, destroy, anything? The Mystic Sword Sovereign took a deep breath. That should be the case. Analyzing the spatial zone array, the people outside can only look inside, and the people inside can't see outside. We can't do anything. The white-bearded sovereign shook his head. The sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance had lived for several hundred years and had witnessed many sacred True Dragon gatherings. However, this was the first time they had seen the ancient arena take back control of the sacred True Dragon gathering. If that's the case, then let's wait and see. The deputy palace lord's voice was emotionless. Within the barrier of light, the 500 geniuses were scattered around and were dazed at the start, before becoming restless like flies. They were in this small space, but they couldn't see what was happening outside. However, the people in the spectator stands could see every detail of the fight from all angles. Unable to contact the outside world, what happened to the sacred true dragon gathering? Zhao Feng stood on the plain and frowned. Unlike most geniuses, he was calm and collected. Whoosh! Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye, and through the light membrane, he could see the spectator stands outside the ancient arena, including the oval stage above him. At the same time, the inheritors of the 3 eye bloodlines of the continent all used their eye bloodlines to observe the scene outside. In the end, the ghost-eyed man had failed. His eye bloodline wasn't good at seeing through things. The successor of the Tuoba family had tried and failed. In the entire light membrane space, only Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could see through the light membrane and see the situation outside. Of course, this didn't mean that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was stronger than the 3 families. His god's spiritual eye was good at X-ray vision, telescopic vision, and microscopic insight. This was the foundation of a strong learning and replication ability. This brat's eyes seemed to be able to see us. Sovereign Yu Xingchen lightly inspected Zhao Feng in the light membrane. But right at this moment, Zhao Feng took back his gaze as if it was just an illusion. A while later, Zhao Feng found the highest mountain in the area and looked down at the geography of the Shroud of Light. Shua! With a scan of the god's spiritual eye, a map of the entire light membrane space appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Perfect timing, location, and people. Zhao Feng first controlled the location and understood the situation in the light membrane space. After finishing this step, Zhao Feng didn't move and instead observed the situation in the light membrane space. Soon, the figures of fighting appeared near the river zone. Taiyun Shuangzi first attacked a peak true human rank genius. With the overwhelming prodigy's strength, 1 or 2 moves caused the genius to spit out blood and fall to the ground. Kacha! Taiyun Shuangzi's big brother chopped off the genius' arm. Ah! The genius screamed and knelt on the ground begging. I admit defeat. Stop. However, the weird thing was that although he admitted defeat, his dragon blessing didn't change at all. There was no one enforcing the rules in this trial. What's going on? We beat our opponent and didn't take his dragon blessing. What shit, sacred true dragon gathering, what's wrong with it? Taiyun Shuangzi roared in anger and unwillingness as he vented his anger on the genius and punched and kicked him. The genius was beaten half to death. Mercy, mercy! I'll give you my true dragon token. The genius cried as he gave the true dragon token to Taiyun Shuangzi. The instant Taiyun Shuangzi received the true dragon token, the true dragon token on his body released a bright golden dragon light that rose 1 yard into the air. Kacha! The genius true dragon token instantly dimmed and shattered. Ha ha ha, this feels great. As long as I take the true dragon token, I can take all of the opponent's dragon blessing. Taiyun Shuangzi sucked in a large amount of dragon blessing and couldn't help but roar towards the sky. In the first round of the sacred true dragon gathering, he could only take 1/5 of the opponent's dragon blessing. But now, taking 1 true dragon token could take all of the opponent's dragon blessing. This scene obviously fell into the eyes of the spectators. I understand this trial is about plundering by any means necessary. A real battle without any restrictions can better reflect a person's true strength. Sovereign Yu Xingchen's eyes lit up. That's right, there are too many factors that affect strength, including schemes, will, potential, etc. A competition with restrictions and misgivings will greatly limit a person's true strength. Good, but isn't this a bit too cruel? These are the geniuses of the continent. The sovereigns had different opinions, but the majority agreed. At the same time, Zhao Feng, who was standing on the mountain, couldn't help but think after seeing this scene. This trial doesn't seem to have any restrictions. It doesn't matter what method I use, as long as I can get the true dragon token. After Zhao Feng finished his analysis, he felt an inexplicable excitement and joy. He preferred to engage in actual combat. This environment was undoubtedly more suitable for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye continued to pay attention to Taiyun Shuangzi's situation. The crippled genius wasn't kicked out after losing his true dragon token. What did this mean? not kicked out. Although my true dragon token was taken by Taiyun Shuangzi, I can still take other people's. I still have a chance. The peak true human rank's eyes twinkled as a sliver of hope appeared in his heart. Now he needed to use all his methods to steal other people's true dragon tokens. Thinking up to hear a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he ran away under Taiyun Shuangzi's scolding. Humph. I'll let you live if you know what's good for you. Hehe. Now we're going to start a massacre. Those that don't hand over their true dragon token will be killed without mercy. Taiyun Shuangzi's face was cruel as he leapt towards the figures in front of him in search of new prey. In less than half the time it took tea to be made, the sounds of killing could be heard. Ah! A blood-curdling scream came from a hillside. A genius that didn't hand over his true dragon token was killed by Taiyun Shuangzi. Hua! All the experts in the spectator stands exclaimed in shock. The elder of the killed genius couldn't help but protest, and wanted to cancel Taiyun Shuangzi's right to participate in the sacred True Dragon Gathering. Sorry everyone, the sacred True Dragon Gathering has entered a glorious era, and the ancient arena has automatically started. The rules mean that there are no rules. The bronze-skinned Deputy Palace Lord's emotionless voice sounded across the spectating stands. The rules meant that there were no rules. The crowd broke out into chaos. Guests from all over the continent. The Sacred Alliance has lost control of the sacred True Dragon Gathering. This isn't something we want. The white-bearded sovereign said. The elders of the various forces all took in a cold breath. However, the truth was like this. The sacred True Dragon Gathering had lost control, and even the Sacred Alliance couldn't control it. Killing, ambushing, gang beating, arson. None of the methods went against the rules in the second stage. The rules meant that there were no rules. Don't you think that under the baptism of blood and metal, the potential of these geniuses will be stimulated and increase the dragon blessing of the continent? The bronze-skinned giant's eyes were filled with cruelty, excitement and expectation. Bloody battles and whatnot were nothing to these venerables. They had seen all sorts of scenes. No one went against the decision of the Sacred Alliance Deputy Palace Lord. Most people didn't know the Deputy Palace Lord's strength, and only knew that he could threaten some sovereigns. He had even fought with the Scarlet Moon demonic religion and Sword Saint Yi Wuxia before. Those familiar with him knew that he was also a bloodthirsty person. Within the barrier of light, cries of killing sounded as the geniuses from all over started to fight. Of course, there were very few people as cruel as Taiyun Shuangzi. In normal battles, as long as one side was willing to hand over their true dragon token, they wouldn't be killed. After all, they were all from the same continent. If they killed someone, they might offend a powerful force, or even a venerable one. Geniuses that could reach this step all had strong backgrounds, and were at least at the true lord rank. There were also some geniuses that were descendants or successors of sovereigns. Let's go. Zhao Feng's figure flashed and floated down from the peak. His god's spiritual eye soon found a direction. At a certain moment, a crystal blue bow appeared in Zhao Feng's hand, and the 3 silver arrows instantly returned to their places. Chiu! An arrow of ice and lightning shot into the forest at twice the speed of sound. Ah! A dark-clothed youth fell to the ground with a plop. His shoulder had been pierced by the Luoho arrow, and the power of ice and lightning eroded him. He was instantly paralyzed and unable to move. How is this possible? How did you see through my darkness secret concealment technique? The dark-clothed youth was shocked. Meow meow. A silver-gray thieving cat appeared next to the dark-clothed youth, and with a schwa, took his true dragon token. Chapter 362. The second round was even crueler, and Zhao Feng told the little thieving cat to help him. The little thieving cat was his spiritual pet. Even if it appeared in the first round, it wouldn't be breaking the rules, let alone the second round where there were no rules. You're Zhao Feng. The dark-clothed youth watched as the little thieving cat took his true dragon token, and all his dragon blessing went towards Zhao Feng. Being the #1 black horse of this sacred True Dragon Gathering, most geniuses obviously knew Zhao Feng. Bong! Xiao! Zhao Feng ignored him and shot out 2 more arrows in the blink of an eye. They flew towards the forest and the clouds. The new Luoho bow had been forged by Master Taigon, and both the bow and arrows were close to the middle-tier spiritual grade. Its power even surpassed normal middle-tier spiritual grade weapons. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Luoho arrow flashed with lightning, and another two figures fell off their horses. The genius hidden in the clouds had reached the true mystic rank, and his body went numb after being hit by the arrow. He instantly lost 80 to 90% of his battle power and fell down. How is this possible? I just flew here and... The true mystic rank genius gritted his teeth and circulated his chi of true spirit. Before he landed on the ground, he heard a meow, and a silver-gray cat that looked like an old fox appeared next to him. Voila! A dark silver whip with blood-patterned patterns tied him up like a spirit snake, draining him of his blood essence and power. Meow meow! The little thieving cat jumped onto his shoulder and tried to take his true dragon token. Don't even think about it. After all, this prodigy was at the true mystic rank, and his chi of true spirit surged furiously, creating a strong wind. Pa! A cat's paw ruthlessly slapped his face. Suddenly, the world spun around him, and his face burned. Before he could react, the little thieving cat took his true dragon token and gave it to its owner. And I have a helper and his speed isn't bad. Zhao Feng's dragon blessing glowed even brighter. A third of the silver token had turned gold and silver. There was a faint silhouette of a gold-and-silver dragon on his body, and a dragon's roar could be heard as it revolved around him. Next, Zhao Feng's god spiritual, I could theoretically see through the entire secret realm, as long as there weren't any large objects in the way. Instantly, the human and cat started to move around in the light dimension, and used various methods to steal true dragon tokens without any effort. Every time the Luoho bow rang, it meant that at least one person fell off his horse. On the spectator stand and the oval platform, the experts from the various forces widened their eyes. Fuck! This is too fast. This Zhao Feng seems to be very familiar with the terrain of this space. None of the people hiding in the dark can escape his eyes. Zhao Feng's figure shuttled back and forth in the space, catching one at a time. His archery skills that surpassed miracles and his eyesight that could see through everything made this genius dark horse feel like a fish in water in a completely new and unfamiliar environment. That efficiency and speed left people speechless. The sovereigns on the stage couldn't help but be stunned. This Zhao Feng has already controlled the environment and the entire situation. The bronze-skinned giant's eyes flashed as he said solemnly, although his eye bloodline is strong, isn't it a bit exaggerated to say he's controlling the situation? A female venerable said in surprise. If you pay attention, you'll find that every time he moves, he'll meet geniuses no matter if they're in the open or in the dark. What's more, he always maintains a certain distance from the 5 overwhelming prodigies and the geniuses of the first tier. This way his harvesting is the highest. The bronze-skinned giant's use of the word harvesting made the sovereigns nodded in agreement. Every time Zhao Feng met an opponent, he would quickly steal their true dragon token. His methods weren't as brutal as Taiyun Shuangzi's. Every time he would sneak attack or steal, he would easily get the true dragon token. Sometimes, Zhao Feng didn't even need to defeat his opponent, and just needed to work with the little thieving cat to steal their true dragon token. I have to admit that little thieving cat has greatly increased his efficiency, and used the smallest price to achieve his goal. The mystic sword sovereign squinted his eyes as he inspected the little thieving cat next to Zhao Feng. The little thieving cat's signature move was to slap the opponent's face with its paw and leave a burning paw print. Even those at the true mystic rank felt dizzy after being hit by the cat's paw and didn't know which way was north. NN. Looks like you've become stronger in every aspect. Zhao Feng patted the little thieving cat's head in satisfaction. The little thieving cat had eaten a large amount of his treasures. Close to half of the Watermoon treasury had been eaten by the little thieving cat. Of course, the effect was obvious. The little thieving cat's strength had increased by quite a bit. Although it might not be a match for a true mystic rank head-on, it could sneak attack 1 or 2 normal true mystic ranks. As for the little thieving cat's abilities, Zhao Feng still didn't know. The little thieving cat's agility was top tier, and its invisibility was something that Zhao Feng could only see with his god's spiritual eye. As for its cat claws, Although the power was average, it could make those at the true mystic rank dizzy, which was even more incredible. Meow meow. The little thieving cat grinned, and put its hands on its waist as it wagged its tail, and made a one-of-a-kind expression. Its expression and actions were perfect, and could be easily understood by anyone. Schwa. Many of the guests on the spectator stand couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ha ha ha, this cat's pretty interesting. Its background probably isn't simple. The venerable ones on the oval platform could not help but laugh. Meow meow. The little thieving cat stood on Zhao Feng's shoulder, and made a face towards the barrier of light with slight disdain. Ah, the expressions of the 9 sovereigns changed dramatically. This cat can see us? The sovereigns looked at each other. It was fine if the cat could see them, but it dared to be disrespectful to the sovereigns? Unknowingly, the little thieving cat had won a group of fans in the ancient arena. This was especially true for the female experts. This included the female sovereigns on the stage who stared at the little thieving cat with love. I like this cat. I'll think of a way to trade with that brat. A green-robed female venerable had a look of delight on her face. It was obvious that she liked the little thieving cat very much. Such a fun cat definitely has a powerful and mysterious ancient bloodline. From the looks of it, it signed a blood contract with that brat. Green Moon Venerable, could it be that you want to force a sale? The Mystic Sword Sovereign joked. This brat comes from the Iron Blood religion, and has a sovereign behind him. He was also a member of the Alliance, and once fought with me against the Scarlet Moon religion patriarch. The bronze-skinned giant said intentionally or unintentionally, as if reminding her not to have the idea of using force. All in all, I'll make use of him. The Green Moon Sovereign said confidently, within the barrier of light. Time flew by and 2 days had passed. As the battle continued, the number of true dragon tokens continued to decrease. The geniuses that had lost their true dragon token crazily counterattacked. Killing, ambushing, all sorts of methods were used. Under this situation, forces like the 10 great clans would form a group if they had 2 or 3 geniuses. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's harvesting speed finally slowed down. One reason was because the number of true dragon tokens was decreasing. In this dimension, if one lost and their true dragon token was stolen, they would lose all their dragon blessing, and their original true dragon token would shatter and disappear. Of course, the remaining true dragon tokens would become more and more valuable. Each true dragon token was at least a faint silver grade. Zhao Feng's true dragon token had turned into a brilliant gold color, and the figure of a golden dragon shrouded him. His dragon blessing was extremely strong. My current dragon blessing is comparable to the 5 overwhelming prodigies of the first stage. However, after entering this dimension, the dragon blessing of the 5 overwhelming prodigies will definitely increase. Zhao Feng analyzed. He estimated that his dragon blessing would at least be in the top 10, and only below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The venerables on the oval platform looked down at the light membrane space, and discovered that the 6 largest golden dragons had risen in the void. They were at least 3 meters tall. Amongst them, Yu Wushuang and Taiyun Shuangzi were close to 2 yards. The reason why it was 6 and not 5 was because one of them was extremely close to the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The source was Zhao Feng. Of the 6, Zhao Feng was the weakest. Next was Goddess Bingwei. All the other overwhelming prodigies had won the first round. Only she had a draw with Zhao Feng, and had 1/5 of her dragon blessing taken away. Within the barrier of light, the 5 golden luck dragons let out faint dragon roars that could be sensed from far away. The true dragon token was a unique existence that couldn't be put into an interspatial dimension. Therefore, the 5 overwhelming prodigies and Zhao Feng couldn't conceal their auras. A 6th dazzling golden dragon blessing? Could it be that this sacred true dragon gathering will give birth to a new overwhelming prodigy? Up to now, Zhao Feng indeed has a high chance of becoming the 6th overwhelming prodigy and pushing this era to its peak. The experts and guests on the spectator stand were all excited and looking forward to it. Although this sacred true dragon gathering had lost control, it was undoubtedly more exciting. Up to now, there were already 20 or so geniuses that had died in the barrier of light, and dozens had been crippled. From this, One could see how intense the competition was. As time passed, the killing became more and more intense, and casualties continued to appear. There are fewer and fewer targets. Zhao Feng stood on the three-flowered treasured lotus and sped through the air. He found many targets, but they didn't have a true dragon token, or were too strong, and had formed a group. Run! He actually managed to condense the dazzling silhouette of a golden dragon. Is this Zhao Feng going to become the new overwhelming prodigy? He's already the sixth strongest dragon blessing. The geniuses saw Zhao Feng from afar and started to panic. At this point in time, within the light barrier, 6 dazzling golden dragon silhouettes could be seen from dozens of miles away. The powerful draconic providence they exuded could be seen clearly. It's Zhao Feng. He's actually the 6th strongest dragon blessing, and is on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Mo Tianyi sensed the golden dragon blessing from afar. The geniuses nearby fled in all directions. Fight or retreat? Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng happened to be opposite each other, and faced a difficult decision. Chapter 363. Within the barrier of light, Mo Tianyi's eyes twinkled as his handsome figure stood on the spot. Next to him was the other 2 geniuses of the Heavenly Yuan clan. One of them was Zhao Yufei, and the other was the yellow-faced man ranked second. Brother Zhao Feng. Zhao Yufei stared at the dazzling golden dragon silhouette in the distance, feeling both happy and worried. The tokens of the 3 geniuses of the Heavenly Yuan clan were at least faint gold. Mo Tianyi's was pure gold, but it wasn't bright, and didn't have a dragon blessing figure. Brother Mo, what do we do? The yellow-faced man's heart clenched. In this sacred true dragon gathering, Zhao Feng's momentum was too strong, and had fought against overwhelming prodigies. He was without a doubt the number 1 black horse. No one doubted that he was the strongest genius below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Now, Zhao Feng's body was covered in dragon luck, and he seemed to be on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Mo Tianyi's expression was solemn and solemn. He wasn't as casual as when he first met Zhao Feng. That day at the Northern Star stand. The first time Mo Tianyi saw Zhao Feng, his evaluation was not bad. Today he acted as if he was facing a great enemy. Mo Tianyi had seen the battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei from start to finish, and saw Zhao Feng's miraculous steps. The shock he felt at that time was still lingering. No matter how arrogant he was, he had to admit that Zhao Feng was a terrifying enemy. The yellow-faced man's eyes twinkled as he messaged, "If the 3 of us team up against this brat, we won't lose at least." Perhaps Mo Tianyi facing Zhao Feng alone was a bit uncertain, but if he and Zhao Yufei were included, it would be a completely different situation. After all, there were no rules in the barrier of light. Sneak attacks and gang fights were all allowed. No matter who wins or loses, you two can't interfere. Mo Tianyi took a deep breath and messaged. He felt ashamed for his junior brother's words. Being the head disciple of one of the 10 great clans, and the legend of the peak geniuses of the northern continent, how could Mo Tianyi gang up on a black horse? Whoosh! Zhao Feng stood on the 3-flowered treasured lotus, and flew towards the direction of Mo Tianyi's group, with his god's spiritual eye. The 2 sides were getting closer and closer. The atmosphere in the surroundings suddenly became heavy. Some of the geniuses watching from afar even held their breaths. The spectator seats outside the light film space, and the venerables on the oval platform were all interested and expectant. Zhao Feng looked down from above, and with his god's spiritual eye, he naturally saw Mo Tianyi and company, but he didn't back down. Instead, he inched closer and closer. The situation became even more tense. Zhao Yufei's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that brother Zhao Feng would make a move on the 3 of us? According to the previous records, once Zhao Feng made his move, it was basically impossible for him to fail. Looks like this battle can't be avoided. The chi of true spirit within Mo Tianyi's body started to circulate faster and faster. Every movement of his seemed to contain the profound power of the heaven-earth Yuan Qi. The air around him seemed to contain mountains. Zhao Yufei and the yellow-faced man retreated a certain distance, and didn't interfere with Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng's battle. Before this, Mo Tianyi, was the unshakable #1 genius of the northern continent. Even Xi and Wuheng and Xia Xianshang had lost to him. Wang, a transparent azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye, no longer the faint azure from before. That azure thunderfire flickered between light and dark, sparkling and translucent. It looked so beautiful, but it contained a fatal danger. The hearts of Mo Tianyi and company jumped and cursed in their hearts. Zhao Feng's lightning fire gods, I had shocked the sacred true dragon, gathering in the 5 zones, and was on par with the inheritors of the 3 major eyes. Even the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bingwei was extremely wary of this eye technique. Furthermore, now that Zhao Feng's cultivation had reached the peak true human rank, the power of the lightning fire gods I had obviously increased. At this point in time, whether it was Mo Tianyi or the yellow-faced man, they were all on the alert. Everyone knew that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline couldn't be dodged. Once it was used, no one at the true spirit realm would be able to dodge it. Although the yellow-faced man was at the true mystic rank, he felt suffocated, as if his body and mind were being burned. Although Mo Tianyi looked calm, he didn't have any confidence in dealing with the lightning fire god's eye. Lightning fire god's eye. A transparent azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. At that moment, Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's heart skipped a beat. Who? The lightning fire god's eye started to burn in the river 2 miles away. The powerful power of thunder and fire directly evaporated the river water within a 3-meter radius, forming a vacuum zone. A mournful howl came from the river. Then a ghost-eyed man tumbled out of the river. Ghost-eyed man. It's him, the successor of one of the 3 eye families, the Wu family? Mo Tianyi, and the people watching nearby exclaimed in shock. At the same time, they felt lucky, as if they had just survived a disaster. Everyone fixed their eyes on him. They saw the ghost-eyed man's entire body burning with a transparent green flame. Lightning crackling in all directions crackling. The power of lightning and fire passed through both the physical and mental energy dimensions, and naturally entered the ghost-eyed man's mental energy dimension. Shameless brat sneak attack. The ghost-eyed man finally extinguished the lightning and fire, but his face was black and weak. I only attacked first. You've been hiding in the river for so long. Did you have any good intentions? Zhao Feng's expression was cold as if victory was within his grasp. His thunderfire god's eye had already injured the ghost-eyed man, both physically and mentally. The ghost-eyed man gritted his teeth, but he was still enduring the burning in his mental energy dimension. In the mental energy dimension, azure flames burned and lightning struck. This kind of pain was hundreds of times stronger than the physical pain. If it wasn't for the fact that he had an eye bloodline and specialized in mental energy techniques, he would have collapsed already. Seeing Zhao Feng get closer and closer, the ghost-eyed man turned into a blur and disappeared, extremely smart. However, no matter how he ran, he couldn't hide from Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye. Ghost eye soul burn. The ghost-eyed man gritted his teeth, and a dark gray flame appeared in his eyes. Instantly, a dark gray ghost flame wrapped around Zhao Feng's body. The cold aura burned his body, and made Zhao Feng feel uneasy. Zhao Feng was wearing the Heaven Luo mystic shirt, and his clothes weren't damaged at all. At the same time, his bloodline power was activated, and an ice figure appeared behind him. Wang, the light of ice and lightning surrounded his body, and the dark gray ghost flame seemed to meet its nemesis, and was instantly extinguished. The power of ice directly extinguished the flame. Lightning countered the dark Tao of ghosts. As for mental energy, Zhao Feng once again circulated his lightning fire god's eye, and extinguished the burn on his mental energy. His source of mental energy was far stronger than the ghost-eyed man, and he was unharmed. Brat, you stole my bloodline secret technique, and not only are you not grateful, you're even biting the hand that feeds you. The ghost-eyed man screamed with all his might, his voice trembled, revealing an obvious fear. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye countered all his secret techniques, including his eye bloodline and movement skills. The lightning fire god's eye copied his ghost eye soul burn, and now completely countered the latter. Lightning and fire were the nemesis of the Tao of ghosts and devils. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was even stronger. Eye of ice soul. Zhao Feng's left eye turned into a deep blue pond, and an invisible power of ice entered his mental energy world. CC. The ghost-eyed man seemed to fall into an ice house, and his body started to tremble. The coldness spread from his mental energy world and started to corrode and attack his consciousness. First it was lightning and fire, and now it was ice soul. The ghost-eyed man took Zhao Feng's dual sky of ice and fire head-on, and his mental energy was on the verge of collapsing, and the injury on his mind increased. After being hit by the eye of ice soul, the ghost-eyed man's thoughts became cold, and his actions became extremely slow. A person's actions were controlled by their mental energy. When one's thoughts were frozen, they would become sluggish. It was no different from having one's body frozen. Indeed worthy of being one of the 3 eye families. Even after being hit by 2 of my eye bloodline secret techniques, he's only injured and not in any danger to his life. Zhao Feng couldn't help but praise. Zhao Feng's dual sky of ice and fire would kill most early-stage true human ranks. The explosive power of the Eye of Ice Soul wasn't strong, but it could last for a long time. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto the ghost-eyed man. The latter kept on trembling, and the coldness in his actions and expression was obvious. Meow meow. A silver-striped blood whip seemed to come from the other side of the air, and wrapped around the ghost-eyed man. Voila! The ghost-eyed man was tied up by the silver-striped blood whip, and his blood essence was slowly drained. This was the blood essence of one of the 3 eye families. Don't even think about stealing my true dragon token. The ghost-eyed man's face was almost twisted, and his gray eyes flashed with a cold blood color, as if he was about to use a stronger secret technique. Pa! The little thieving cat's paw slapped his face, and he instantly felt a burning sensation, as if the world was spinning around him. Plop! The ghost-eyed man knelt on the ground, and by the time he reacted, the little thieving cat that had stolen his true dragon token had disappeared. And not bad. Zhao Feng soon obtained a golden true dragon token, which was on par with Mo Tianyi's. In the blink of an eye, the dazzling golden dragon luck projection on his body grew by a few feet, increasing its size by a third. Within the barrier of light, the other 5 golden genius providence dragons seemed to sense something and roared in unison. At this point in time, all the geniuses within the dimension could feel the 6 dragon blessing auras. As long as they were within 100 miles, they could see the golden dragon blessing with their naked eyes. This Zhao Feng's dragon blessing has reached the level of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Has he become the 6th overwhelming prodigy of this generation? Both the spectators and the spectators were shocked. From the current situation, this seemed to be a foregone conclusion. Mo Tianyi had seen Zhao Feng defeat the ghost-eyed man and take the true dragon token from beginning to end. His heart was filled with shock and a heavy feeling. One had to know that the ghost-eyed man was an expert of the first tier like him. Right at this moment. So, Zhao Feng flew towards Mo Tianyi with the wind. That dreamy blue hair was so bright and eye-catching. Not good. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed, and even had the thought of running. Chapter 364. Zhao Feng's sudden approach made Mo Tianyi wary, but he didn't dare to attack. In terms of attack speed, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline could definitely hit the target before they attacked. Facing such an opponent, Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man felt immense pressure, and their hearts tightened, not daring to be distracted. Zhao Feng, we're all from the northern continent. Do you really have to be enemies with us and the Heavenly Yuan sect? The yellow-faced man threatened, but his vigilant and uneasy expression made his words lack confidence. The Heavenly Yuan sect was one of the 10 great clans of the continent, and if you didn't count the Mystic Ice Palace, it was the strongest force in the northern continent. Even the 3 great countries were inferior to it and respected it. However, Zhao Feng didn't seem to hear his words and slowly closed in without even looking at Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man. Zhao Feng, you're not a true overwhelming prodigy yet. Don't think that I'm easy to bully. Mo Tianyi finally couldn't take it anymore, and his chi of true spirit exploded as he thrust out a palm. The air seemed to shake as if an invisible mountain was descending. Yuan Mountain Secret Palm. The orange chi of true spirit lit up everything within 100 yards radius. The bright crystal palm created a scarlet metallic mountain that pressed down on the entire area. The instant the palm was thrust out, the ground nearby inexplicably caved in. Zhao Feng's heart sank as his blood and qi of true spirit were suppressed by an invisible power. Breathing became hard as if he was facing an unshakable mountain. No matter what he did, he would only be humiliating himself. Wang, an ice figure enthroned, appeared behind Zhao Feng's back. The instant he thrust out his palm, the two powers of ice and lightning intertwined and formed a flower-shaped ice and lightning palm. The moment the flower-shaped palm of ice and thunder collided with the secret heaven palm, it instantly exploded. Lightning, ice and thunder swept out. Bung bung. One of the ice and lightning palm's power was reflected and headed toward Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. His god spiritual eye had already seen through the mysteries of Mo Tiany's Yuan Mountain secret technique. Therefore, he tried to focus his attacks, but a part of the power was still reflected back. Thankfully, he was already prepared. The three-flowered treasured lotus bloomed, and the Tianluo mystic robe fluttered, even though there was no wind, blocking part of the remaining power. Their palms collided, but neither of them gained the upper hand. This Mo Tiany's great secret art of Yuan Mountain contains the profound of earth and metal. Attacks of the same level can't do anything to him at all. Instead, they will be bounced back. Zhao Feng saw more clues. Unless he could be like Yu Tianhao, possessing an attack like unparalleled under the heavens, that could sweep through everything and produce absolute suppression. In reality, the best way to deal with Mo Tiany was to use his eye bloodline, or the water moon god Peach Fan. However, Zhao Feng wasn't here to fight Mo Tiany. Yufei. Zhao Feng did not continue forward. He looked at Zhao Yufei. Brother Zhao Feng, did you come here to look for me? Zhao Yufei smiled sweetly. Zhao Feng's target was Zhao Yufei. So you two know each other. The yellow-faced man let out a long breath, and Mo Tiany had an expression of as expected. Back at the Northern Star stand, Zhao Feng had seen Zhao Yufei, but they didn't talk directly. They only had a short conversation in the mental energy level. This included Xian Wuheng, Song Yue and Bei Moi. At that time, Zhao Feng had been working hard every second or else he wouldn't be where he was now. Zhao Yufei was slightly curious. Why did Zhao Feng suddenly come to find her? This time, Zhao Feng's hair and left eye had turned blue. Zhao Yufei found that the youth in her memory was colder than before. There's something I need to work with the three of you on. Zhao Feng's gaze then swept over Mo Tiany and the yellow-faced man. Work together? Mo Tiany couldn't help but feel curious. He wasn't familiar with Zhao Feng, and had only met him once or twice. The only thing holding them together was Zhao Yufei. And now even Zhao Yufei was curious what Zhao Feng wanted to work with. Logically speaking, Zhao Feng was able to fight against overwhelming prodigies, and he shouldn't be scared of anything in the sacred true dragon gathering. Zhao Feng didn't speak, and his eyes met with the three. Shua. The next instant, the four of them entered an elegant room. Mo Tiany, Zhao Yufei and the yellow-faced man sat on chairs. Opposite them sat Zhao Feng. 1v3 conversation mode. Mo Tiany and company were stunned. They didn't think that Zhao Feng's mental energy communication had reached such a level. This is a simple mental energy illusion. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. After all, he had stepped into the ancient Tao of the soul, and had read the Dark Eye incomplete page, and had a deeper understanding of mental energy illusions. The scene in front of him was just an illusion on top of mental energy communication. It was still very rough, and it was easy to see through the illusions. In this illusion, communication was more realistic, and it was hard for outsiders to see through. At the same time, on the stage, the 9 sovereigns also looked at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng, Mo Tiany and company's states could be guessed at the sovereign's level. This Zhao Feng's dragon blessing is on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The sovereigns placed great importance on this. This was because the final ranking of the sacred true dragon gathering was based on one's true dragon blessing. In terms of dragon blessing, he's indeed on the level of overwhelming prodigies. His only weakness right now is that he's still a line away from the true overwhelming prodigies. The bronze-skinned giant analyzed. The sovereigns nodded their heads in agreement. The reason why Zhao Feng was able to fight against goddess Bingwei was mainly because he countered the latter. However, even so, Zhao Feng was still being suppressed. If it was any other overwhelming prodigies, Zhao Feng would most likely lose. He has dragon blessing comparable to an overwhelming prodigy, but his strength is slightly lacking. If this continues, will the other overwhelming prodigies let him go? Bai Yu Venerable smiled charmingly. Up until now, Zhao Feng's dragon blessing was the smallest of the 6, and was close to goddess Bingwei's. However, his growth was too fast, and he might not lose to any of the overwhelming prodigies, and might even surpass most of them. However, would Zhao Feng, who was in the government, be able to sense this? Within the illusion room, Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi talked for a while, but in reality, it was only a breath's time. Zhao Feng, your tone is too arrogant. You want the 3 core disciples of the Heavenly Yuan clan to protect you? Mo Tianyi said unhappily. I've already said my conditions. I'll double each of your dragon blessing. Apart from that, I'll give you the mystic flower saint liquid to help Yufei break through. If I'm not wrong, Yufei's cultivation is close to the peak true human rank, but her chi of true spirit is extremely pure, and several times more than normal people. She has the ability to break through to the true mystic rank. This is obviously a win-win situation. Zhao Feng repeated. His offer wasn't bad, but Mo Tianyi was smart enough to bargain. Mo Tianyi's eyes twinkled. Zhao Feng, from the exchange just then I can see that you're still a bit away from a true overwhelming prodigy. You have such a large amount of dragon blessing, and you've offended goddess Bingwei. Once any 2 overwhelming prodigies team up, you'll be in dire straits. How could Mo Tianyi not see the situation when Zhao Feng asked for protection? Zhao Feng was still lacking a bit. Once he broke through to the true mystic rank he would be close, and this would greatly reduce the gap in cultivation. This bit was what Zhao Feng lacked the most. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye controlled the situation, and purposely avoided the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Once his dragon blessing aura reached the same level as the overwhelming prodigies, he would be able to predict the situation. Zhao Feng, once you break through to the true mystic rank, you'll be the 6th overwhelming prodigy. Who can be sure you won't attack us then? The yellow-faced man was wary. I trust brother Zhao Feng. Zhao Yufei had always trusted Zhao Feng, and was willing to cooperate. This way, Mo Tianyi and company wouldn't be able to add any more weight. If I succeed, I'll try to take care of your Heavenly Yuan clan. We can even sign a blood contract. Zhao Feng promised. Hearing this, both Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were moved. There's no need for a blood contract. I trust Yufei in your character. Mo Tianyi nodded his head. The 2 sides immediately came to an agreement. Mo Tianyi and company would protect Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng would first double their dragon blessing, and give the mystic flower saint liquid to Zhao Yufei to increase the Heavenly Yuan clan's strength. Finally, if Zhao Feng succeeded, they would have to take care of the Heavenly Yuan clan. Although it seemed like Zhao Feng was at a disadvantage, it was still a strong alliance. After all, Zhao Feng was just a step away from reaching the top 3, or even first place. Next, Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company started to search for true dragon tokens. Because of the god's spiritual eye, Zhao Feng could see the entire scene, and quickly found his target. However, his dragon blessing was too large, and the other geniuses could see him from afar. Therefore, Zhao Feng told Mo Tianyi and company to set up ambushes, and the little thieving cat to sneak attacks from the shadows. In less than half a day, Zhao Feng and company successfully ambushed 5 or 6 geniuses, including Qin Kunwu of the first tier. Mo Tianyi, Zhao Yufei and the yellow-faced man's dragon blessing had doubled. Under Zhao Feng's care, Zhao Yufei's dragon blessing was close to Mo Tianyi's. Zhao Feng didn't absorb any more true dragon tokens, and purposely pulled away from the other 5 overwhelming prodigies. It's about time. Let's find a quiet place, and you guys protect me. Zhao Feng nodded his head. As for the location, Zhao Feng had already found it, and had designed a hidden route that others wouldn't be able to find. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye once again inspected the situation of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. In the northwest direction, Tantai Lanyue and Shiqingtian, The two overwhelming prodigies teamed up against Yu Tianhao. Their battle caused the heavens and earth to dim, and the mountains to collapse, and the earth to crack. Goddess Bingwei hid in the shadows and watched the battle between Yu Tianhao, Tantai Lanyue and Shirqingtian. As for Taiyun Shuangzi, this pair of brothers had extreme personalities and were cruel and bloodthirsty. This is a good time. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and led Mo Tianyi and company into the southeast corner of the river and dove down. Not long later, Zhao Feng dug out a simple cave in the depths of the river. It's indeed hard to find hiding in the depths of the river, but your dragon blessing is still large, and once you get close I'll be able to sense you. Mo Tianyi's eyebrows furrowed. Hee, I'll have to rely on brother Mo for this. Zhao Feng's smile seemed to contain a hint of success, as he sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. Chapter 365. Within the cave at the bottom of the river, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged, and Zhao Yufei sat next to him. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were responsible for guarding and monitoring the situation nearby. Meow meow. The little thieving cat gripped the mystic snake blood whip and leaned against its owner, becoming the closest guard. The reason why Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi could work together was because of Zhao Yufei's connection. Of course, Zhao Feng wouldn't completely hand his safety to someone else. The reason why he dared to let Mo Tianyi protect him was because he had something to rely on. I've already passed the biggest root of law to break through to the true mystic rank. All I need to do now is refine the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. I don't need to focus all my attention. Although Zhao Feng was cultivating with his eyes closed, he could still leave a part of his attention in the outside world. Furthermore, there was also the little thieving cat protecting her. Zhao Yufei could be counted as a childhood friend that had grown up together. If Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi were to fight, Zhao Yufei was more likely to protect the former. In the worst-case scenario, Zhao Feng would just fail, and there wouldn't be any danger. Therefore, this cooperation was worth a try. Yufei, this is the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid. Zhao Feng handed a small bottle to Zhao Yufei. The Mystic Flower Saint Liquid was a supreme saint liquid formed from the 100 Flower Saint Liquid and 3 other saint liquids. It could help those at the true spirit realm comprehend the root of law and increase the chances of reaching the true mystic rank by 30%. According to the agreement, Zhao Feng would have to pay more than Mo Tianyi and company. It didn't seem worth it. However, the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid ended up in Zhao Yufei's hands, and Zhao Feng didn't care anymore. Furthermore, the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid's main use was to increase mental energy senses and comprehend the root of law. It was useless for Zhao Feng. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were both at the true mystic rank and obviously didn't need this liquid. Giving the Mystic Flower Holy Liquid to Zhao Yufei was undoubtedly the best outcome. Brother Zhao Feng, I just happen to have a lightning profound stone here. It's a lightning-type treasure that I obtained when I entered the sect's inheritance last time. Zhao Yufei handed Zhao Feng a purple thunder stone covered with natural patterns. As soon as the lightning stone appeared, a dense surge of lightning yuan qi caused Zhao Feng's qi of true spirit to tremble in excitement. It's actually a lightning profound stone. The conditions for the formation of this stone require an extremely high-quality lightning stone that has to endure the repeated tempering of heaven and earth lightning. Over time, it will absorb a large amount of lightning essence and even contain a certain amount of profound mysteries of lightning. Zhao Feng was overjoyed to obtain the stone. In terms of value, the lightning profound stone that Zhao Yufei had given him was not inferior to the profound flower holy liquid. This scene fell into Mo Tianyi's eyes. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei's intimate relationship made him feel complicated. In the world of sex, even martial brothers would scheme against each other, and it wasn't rare for them to kill each other. Mo Tianyi was used to being alone. On the other hand, there were no schemes between Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. After all, they had grown up together. Last time, there was a martial uncle in the sect who proposed to junior sister Yufei to trade lightning profound stones. I remember sister Yufei said that the lightning profound stone had already been traded, I didn't think she would still have it. The yellow-faced man's eyes twinkled as he tried to guess the relationship between Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. Could it be that the two of them were blood-related siblings? The cave at the bottom of the river fell into silence. Zhao Feng held the lightning-profound stone, and wisps of pure essence of lightning were absorbed into his body and refined by his true spirit lightning flame. Originally, Zhao Feng was worried that his source of true spirit from the lightning inheritance would be assimilated by the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. Now that he had this lightning-profound stone, the situation was much better. What made Zhao Feng overjoyed was that the laws of lightning contained within the lightning-profound stone were closer to nature and purer than his own lightning inheritance. The laws of lightning contained within the lightning-profound stone further supplemented Zhao Feng's comprehension of lightning. In his mind, the second floor of the pavilion represented by the lightning inheritance was completely bright and translucent. The third floor had faint traces of light. Unknowingly, Zhao Feng had reached the peak of the second floor of the lightning inheritance. According to the description of the lightning inheritance, one needed to be at the true lord rank to comprehend the third floor. Qiao, arcs of azure lightning would occasionally appear around Zhao Feng, as if they had a mind of their own. However, they didn't affect the little thieving cat. Time passed slowly. Zhao Feng continued to absorb the essence of the lightning-profound stone, and at the same time, he also refined the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. This meant that Zhao Feng's source of true spirit was dominated by lightning. On the other side, after obtaining the mystic flower saint liquid, Zhao Yufei could clearly sense the laws of the heaven-earth yuan qi. Zhao Yufei's situation was the opposite of Zhao Feng's. Zhao Feng's mental energy level surpassed his cultivation, but his qi of true spirit wasn't high enough. On the other hand, Zhao Yufei's bloodline had awakened, and her compatibility with the heaven-earth yuan qi was extremely high. Her qi of true spirit was extremely pure, and her body could even merge with the heaven-earth yuan qi. Her qi of true spirit was several times that of a normal person. This meant that as long as her mental energy level was high enough, Zhao Yufei could rapidly increase her cultivation. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye could see all of this. One had to say that Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei complemented each other perfectly. Zhao Feng suddenly remembered the yin and yang complement technique in the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. If it could be done, Zhao Feng's mental energy level could complement Zhao Yufei, and Zhao Yufei's pure qi of true spirit could complement Zhao Feng. However, this thought flashed through Zhao Feng's mind, and he didn't consider it. Just as the Water Moon Pirate had said, although the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible was powerful, it wasn't the king's path. While Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei were in seclusion, Mo Tianyi and the other person were protecting them. Occasionally, some geniuses would accidentally come near, and Mo Tianyi and the other person would take action and chase them away. Zhao Feng's dragon blessing was extremely large, and it was easy to sense if one got too close. With Mo Tianyi and the other person's strength and dragon blessing, normal geniuses would quickly retreat when they got close. As long as they didn't meet an overwhelming prodigy, Mo Tianyi and the other person didn't need to fear anything. The only thing Mo Tianyi was worried about was what if other overwhelming prodigies came? As long as the 5 overwhelming prodigies didn't meet each other, they were invincible. Under normal situations, even Mo Tianyi would retreat if he met an overwhelming prodigy. But now he had to protect Zhao Feng. Even if he didn't think for Zhao Feng, there was still his junior sister, who was also a disciple of a sovereign, and he couldn't ignore her. This Zhao Feng really knows how to scheme and drag junior sister Yufei down with him. Mo Tianyi knew he had no way out. Zhao Feng was on the same side as the Heavenly Yuan clan. On the second day of Zhao Feng's seclusion, a peak first-tier genius appeared near the river zone. If it was a normal first-tier genius such as Qin Kunwu or Xia Xinshang, Mo Tianyi would be able to deal with them. However, this first-tier genius wasn't a normal genius, but the successor of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Qi. Tuoba Qi's fame in the sacred True Dragon gathering was even greater than Mo Tianyi's. In the air above the river zone, Mo Tianyi and the other person faced off against the successor of the Tuoba family. Tuoba Qi snickered coldly and didn't fear the 2 true mystic ranks. Once his heavenly piercing eye was activated, an invisible blade could instantly cut through the target, making it almost impossible to dodge. At this point in time, the atmosphere was tense. The people outside were also interested and looked forward to what would happen next. The spectating stands and sovereigns obviously knew that Mo Tianyi was protecting Zhao Feng. Wang Hu. Right at this moment, a powerful aura came from the river, and the figure of a golden dragon faintly appeared. Tuo Bachi felt a chill in his heart. He felt as if a pair of cold eyes were locked onto him. When Tuo Bachi looked at the image of the golden luck dragon again, he had a guess. His expression changed and turned grave. Shua. Tuo Bachi turned and left without hesitation. He didn't have any confidence facing the sixth strongest dragon blessing expert, who also had a powerful eye bloodline. Furthermore, there was still Mo Tianyi and the other person. Tuo Bachi had obviously seen the battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei. He also knew that the ghost-eyed man had been defeated by Zhao Feng. It was because of this that he was wary and decided to leave. Mo Tianyi and the other person let out a breath. Tuo Bachi's heavenly piercing eye was extremely terrifying and hard to defend against. Before, there was even an expert from the first tier, who had been defeated by Tuo Bachi in one glance. Mo Tianyi was also worried facing Tuo Bachi. The sixth strongest dragon blessing expert is the strongest. The yellow-faced man couldn't help but sigh as he looked down. Zhao Feng returned to the cave and continued to cultivate. Because he had formed his root of law early, Zhao Feng's process of breaking through to the true mystic rank was relatively simple. He only needed to refine his chi of true spirit and could retreat at any time. Once a peak genius came close and refused to retreat, Zhao Feng would appear and release a bit of his aura. Apart from the 5 overwhelming prodigies, no one dared to fight against Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company. Time soon arrived on the third day. Zhao Feng's source of true spirit had expanded, and his cultivation had reached the peak true human rank. Just a bit more and Zhao Feng would be able to break through to the true mystic rank. This guy's cultivation speed is too fast. Mo Tianyi clucked his tongue. He originally thought that Zhao Feng would need 10 days to half a month to break through to the true mystic rank, but now it seemed that he could succeed in 4 to 5 days. It's the last day. Guard it well. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and put more energy into cultivation. In reality, many geniuses knew that Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company were here, and this was a forbidden area. There were very few people who came close to the river zone. However, on this day, a powerful aura suddenly appeared in front of them. From far away, they could see the image of a golden luck dragon. It was 6 meters tall. Not good. An overwhelming prodigy is coming. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed and immediately notified Zhao Feng. Overwhelming prodigy? Could it be Goddess Bing Wei? Zhao Feng's expression dimmed. He opened his god's spiritual eye and inspected the situation. In the distant sky, a large bird with colorful wings carried a beautiful girl in a colorful dress. She held a 5-colored glass whip in her hand, and her eyes were pure without any impurities. Her eyes were bright and clear, and there was a ripple in them that was as clear as water. Overwhelming prodigy. Tantai Lanyua, Mo Tianyi and company exclaimed. Chapter 366. The newcomer was Tantan Lanyue, the most special of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Tantai Lanyue was wearing a colorful dress that reached her knees, revealing half of her snow-white legs. She looked delicate and charming, like the girl next door. In terms of cultivation, Tantan Lanyue was the lowest of the 5 overwhelming prodigies at the early stages of the true mystic rank, on par with Mo Tianyi. But at this moment, Mo Tianyi's heart went numb, and his expression was solemn. The opponent was a beast tamer, and their biggest reliance wasn't on themselves, but their spiritual pets. For example, the rainbow-winged bird under Tantan Lanyue's feet had battle power comparable to the peak true mystic rank. She had a total of 2 spiritual pets like this. The scariest thing was that Tantan Lanyue had a trump card called the Horned Earth Dragon Beast. It had a powerful bloodline, and its battle power was comparable to the true Lord rank. Apart from that, Tantan Lanyue had more than a dozen rare spiritual pets that could deal with any situation. Furthermore, the number one genius of the beast tamer family, Tantan Lanue's mental energy source was extremely strong and was said to be close to the true lord rank. Seeing Tantan Lanue's rainbow-winged bird approach, that was a beast comparable to the peak true mystic rank, and its powerful aura pressured Emotiani and Emotiani. So, Tantan Lanue's flying speed was extremely fast, and her eyes soon locked onto Emotiani, and Emotiani with furrowed eyebrows. At the same time, a large amount of true dragon providence appeared in the river that was almost on par with Tantan Lanue's. In the cave at the bottom of the river, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto Tantan Lanue. This girl's mental energy source is so strong, and her use of mental energy is exquisite. Zhao Feng felt troubled. This way, Tantan Lanue would have a strong resistance against Zhao Feng's eye bloodline secret technique, and would be a level higher than goddess Bing Wei. This girl could be Zhao Feng's nemesis. Zhao Feng didn't purposely hide his aura, and his god's spiritual eye locked onto Tantan Lanue as a warning. If Tantan Lanue was obviously hostile, Zhao Feng could only come out of seclusion and team up with Emotiani and company to fight against the overwhelming prodigies. Hihi, you are that Zhao Feng? I advise you not to waste your energy. Your eye bloodline technique focuses on the mental aspect. It has no effect on me. Tantan Lanue's divine sense was extremely powerful, one of the best among the 5 peerless geniuses. She soon located Zhao Feng's location. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged without moving, but he did not deny it either. His eye bloodline did indeed focus on mental energy, so meeting Tantan Lanue gave him a headache. What, are you scared? Tantan Lanue faintly smiled. She waved the 5-colored glass whip in her hand, and with a loud bang, a half-mile-long crack appeared in the river below. Waves of colorful waves rushed toward the water cave, where Zhao Feng was. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. Tantan Lanue's actions were completely provocative. Lightning fire god eye. The azure lightning flame in Zhao Feng's left eye flashed. Whoosh! A translucent thunder flame suddenly appeared on the colorful winged bird under Tantan Lanue's feet. Instantly, the colorful winged bird let out a sharp screech that could be heard from dozens of miles away. The power of lightning and fire connected the physical and mental energy dimensions. Although the colorful winged bird wasn't heavily injured, it was in extreme pain. It lost control and threw its owner, Tantan Lanue, away. You dared to hurt my little bird? Tantan Lanue screamed, and flipped through the air before stabilizing herself in the wind. Her hair was in a mess, and she seemed to be in a ruffled state. Bo! Another sharp mental energy sound wave, accompanied by lightning, stabbed toward the colorful winged bird, causing it to go even crazier and Tantan Lanue to panic. Hihi, my eye bloodline technique might not have much effect on you with your strong mental energy source, but I'm half a beast tamer. I have all kinds of methods to make your spiritual pets lose control and injure them. Zhao Feng's wicked smile spread through the mental energy dimension. Being a beast tamer, Tantan Lanue cherished every spiritual pet. A few days ago, she had a great battle with Yu Tianhao. Several of her powerful pets were badly injured. She was heartbroken. She didn't want to meet another troublesome person who was targeting her spiritual pets. Tantan Lanue gritted her teeth and hesitated whether or not to summon the horned earth dragon beast. But at the same time, the scene of Zhao Feng and goddess Bing Wei's battle appeared in her mind. Zhao Feng had too many methods, and his defense was strong. If she didn't have absolute confidence in taking care of him, it was the same as offending an overwhelming prodigy. Just as Tantan Lanue was hesitating, another surge of dragon providence appeared in front of her. This one was even stronger than Tantan Lanue and Zhao Feng's. From far away, one could see a golden dragon providence in the sky. Looking closely, everyone jumped up in fright. The newcomer was a black-haired youth with eyes as deep as the stars. That young man's every move seemed to be filled with indescribable strength and confidence, as well as a desolate feeling of being proud of the world. You've caught up so quickly? Tantan Lanue's expression changed. So, she didn't even turn her head as she flew away on her rainbow-winged bird. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, there was only one existence that could chase after Tantan Lanue. Yu Tianhao. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced youth both took a cold breath. The black-haired youth was Yu Tianhao, the #1 genius of the continent, and an overwhelming prodigy of dozens of generations. Although Yu Tianhao's steps seemed slow, his speed was shockingly fast as he closed in. Tantan Lanyue had no thoughts of fighting. Thinking about the battle a few days ago, Tantan Lanyue's heart jumped. That Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac. He fought against Tantai Lanyue and Shi Qingtian, two overwhelming prodigies, and he was not at a disadvantage at all. After that battle, several of Tantan Lanyue's spiritual pets were injured, and even the horned earth dragon beast was injured. Shi Qingtian, whose forte was defense, also returned covered in wounds. If it wasn't for Shi Qingtian attracting more of Yu Tianhao's firepower, Tantan Lanyue's losses would be even greater. Therefore, Tantan Lanyue instinctively ran when she saw Yu Tianhao. Furthermore, there was Zhao Feng nearby who was a quasi-overwhelming prodigy. Before Mo Tianyi and company could let out a breath after Tantan Lanyue retreated, an even more terrifying existence appeared. Yu Tianhao. These 3 words were enough to make the sacred true dragon gathering tremble, and make other geniuses look up to him in fear. Other overwhelming prodigies were wary, and would retreat if they met him. So, Yu Tianhao appeared in the air above Mo Tianyi in a few steps. She runs pretty fast, Yu Tianhao murmured to himself. In terms of flying speed, he didn't have much of an advantage over Tantan Lanyue. If she wanted to run, he wouldn't be able to catch her even though they were both overwhelming prodigies. Yu Tianhao stood above the river, and sent off Tantan Lanyue with his eyes. Suddenly, his eyes scanned the depths of the river. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man had retreated into the cave. At this moment when Yu Tianhao's eyes scanned over, an invisible aura similar to that of a true lord rank descended. Both Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng felt it hard to breathe, and their chi of true spirit was restricted. If Zhao Feng guessed correctly, Yu Tianhao's cultivation was at the peak true mystic rank, and his mental energy level was at the true lord rank. 6th in the dragon blessing, do you dare to fight? Yu Tianhao didn't attack immediately, and a smile appeared on his face. A surge of battle intent and confidence was released. Zhao Feng's heart dropped slightly. He didn't think that Yu Tianhao would notice him and even challenge him. On the side, Mo Tianyi's emotions were complex. Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac through and through, but he rarely issued challenges to others, especially to the new generation. However, Zhao Feng had entered Yu Tianhao's eyes, and was considered an opponent. To be considered an opponent by the continent's #1 genius was an honor. At least in the 2 sacred true dragon gatherings that Mo Tianyi had participated in, Yu Tianhao didn't even pay attention to him, and easily defeated him. Facing Yu Tianhao's challenge, Zhao Feng was silent. In his mind, he recalled Yu Tianhao's unparalleled palm strength in the ancient arena, his unparalleled attacks like the way of the sword, as well as his strong confidence and willpower that looked down on the world. This strong will was stronger than any sword intent or blade intent that Zhao Feng had ever seen. Just this martial path intent alone could instantly shatter Tian Yunji's blade intent, destroyed Song Yu's sword intent, and scare away the gods and ghosts. At this moment, Yu Tianhao stood proudly in the sky above the riverbank. His domineering battle intent and unparalleled confidence were enough to crush his opponent's faith. The hearts of Mo Tianyi, the yellow-faced man, and Zhao Yufei shook. It was as if there was an invincible demon god standing above their heads. Their heartbeat was extremely clear at this moment. Yu Tianhao stood there and didn't move as he waited silently. He stared at where Zhao Feng was, and his eyes radiated an invisible will and battle intent. The reason he didn't attack immediately was out of respect. Yu Tianhao felt an indescribable sense of respect for that youth, who was 10 years younger than him, who was unyielding, calm, and resolute on the northern region arena, and who turned the situation around like a god at the end. Mo Tianyi and company all felt this mentality. If it was any other opponent or even an overwhelming prodigy, Yu Tianhao would have slapped them without hesitation. From this one could see how important Zhao Feng was to Yu Tianhao, indeed worthy of being the continent's #1 genius. I'm not your match yet. However, I can recommend an opponent for you. Zhao Feng finally spoke. The god's spiritual eye's powerful source of mental energy allowed Zhao Feng to face Yu Tianhao's battle intent without wavering. This made Yu Tianhao's evaluation of him rise. Recommend an opponent? Not only was Yu Tianhao surprised, even Mo Tianyi and company were surprised. Apart from the overwhelming prodigies, who else could fight Yu Tianhao in the sacred True Dragon gathering? Go find a person called Xian Wuheng. In the past, he fought to a draw with me while suppressing his cultivation. He's in this dimension. A weird smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. He was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the true mystic rank, and whether or not he wanted to fight now wasn't the best time. However, Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac and wasn't so easy to deal with. Thus, Zhao Feng suddenly had an idea and thought of a plan to shift the blame to someone else. Yu Tianhao, didn't you want to fight me? Fine. I don't have time right now, so I'll recommend you an opponent of the same level or even stronger. Coincidentally, Xian Wuheng was also someone that Zhao Feng couldn't see through. He would let the continent's #1 genius, Yu Tianhao, test him out. Okay. Yu Tianhao nodded his head and agreed. He seemed to be interested in the Xian Wuheng that Zhao Feng mentioned. Maybe he saw that Zhao Feng was trying to break through and didn't stay any longer. Chapter 367. In the cave at the bottom of the river, sending Yu Tianhao off with their eyes, Mo Tianyi and company were puzzled. Only half of the stone in their hearts had been lifted. The yellow-faced man laughed. Diverting the trouble to someone else, that's a smart move. But when Yu Tianhao finds Xian Wuheng, and finds that the latter isn't his opponent, what will his reaction be? Zhao Feng, are you sure Xian Wuheng can divert Yu Tianhao's attention? Mo Tianyi's face was full of doubt. The two were slightly worried. Mo Tianyi knew Xian Wuheng's strength. The two had fought before and Xian Wuheng had even lost to Mo Tianyi. He admitted that Xian Wuheng had some skill, but if he wanted to fight an overwhelming prodigy, he was probably 1 or 2 levels away. This Xian Wuheng has always been unfathomable, and I wanted to test him. But this time, his opponent is the #1 genius of the continent. I hope he can bring us some surprises, Zhao Feng said uncertainly. Zhao Feng wasn't sure if Xian Wuheng could block Yu Tianhao or not at all. After all, Yu Tianhao was an overwhelming prodigy of dozens of generations, and had surpassed the Scarlet Moon religion patriarch and sword saint Wuxia. Calling Yu Tianhao the #1 genius in history wasn't an exaggeration. However, Zhao Feng did this based on instinct. There were many unsolved mysteries in his life. For example, the origin of the god's spiritual eye. What kind of existence was the owner of the god's spiritual eye? For example, the 100 graves forbidden ground. What was the meaning of the curse placed on the graves of hundreds of experts? Or the ancient arena, which was connected to the continent's history and inheritances? These were all mysteries. In Zhao Feng's heart, Xian Wuheng was also an unsolved mystery. During the Genius Summit of Sunfeather City, Xian Wuheng had already displayed the concept of intent. At that time, everyone was still at the consolidated realm. At last, Xian Wuheng suppressed his cultivation by 1 rank, and was ranked first with Zhao Feng, then disappeared. After Yu Tianhao left, Zhao Feng used the time, and tried to break through to the true mystic rank. In reality, there was no bottleneck to the true mystic rank. All he needed was a bit of time. Within his dantian, wisps of lightning attributed chi of true spirit swam around, and refined his body, merging with his essence, aura and soul. Zhao Feng's chi of true spirit had a wicked aura apart from the destructive element of lightning that came from the mystic flower treasured Bible. In order to make the lightning inheritance the dominant one, Zhao Feng tried his best to absorb every bit of power from the lightning profound rock, and comprehend the natural and original profound meaning of lightning. Not only did Zhao Feng's true power increase, his comprehension of concepts also increased by leaps and bounds. Woo-woo. An azure true spiritual lightning flame jumped in Zhao Feng's dantian, as it refined the chi of true spirit in his body. With the strengthening of the source of true spirit, the power and quality of the true spirit lightning flame would also rise. A portion of Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye's power came from the true spirit lightning fire. Therefore, when he was about to break through to the next realm, he purposely trained and refined the true spiritual lightning flame in his body. Time passed by slowly. On the last day, at the last moment, Zhao Feng's true spirit aura started to condense, and the aura it gave off became more profound. Mo Tianyi and company, who were responsible for guarding, had complex expressions. Zhao Feng's improvement in just a few days was equivalent to several years, or even 10 years of hard work for a peak genius. Mo Tianyi was sure that Zhao Feng had some sort of fortune, at least the source of true spirit within his body, that surpassed the early stages of the true mystic rank, was hard to explain. On the other side, Zhao Yufei had been comprehending with her eyes closed, and after using the mystic flower saint liquid, she gave off a dense mental energy aura. The mystic flower saint liquid could greatly stimulate mental energy senses and help her comprehend the heaven and earth, forming a root of law. Gradually, a faint fluctuation of the root of profound appeared on Zhao Yufei's body. Junior sister Yufei has already condensed the embryonic form of a root of profound. Mo Tianyi's heart jumped. As time passed, the fluctuation of the root of profound on Zhao Yufei's body gradually grew stronger. Zhao Feng felt an unusual aura. The nearby heaven-earth yuan qi was dozens of times more active than normal. The primal qi of heaven and earth became abnormally friendly as it approached Zhao Yufei. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and observed. In the air, countless particles of heaven and earth yuan qi were approaching Zhao Yufei from all directions in a lively and friendly manner. Zhao Yufei was like a strong iron magnet, inexplicably attracting the heaven-earth essence qi. Yufei's bloodline physique's compatibility with the yuan qi of the universe is astounding. After forming the root of profundity, she understands the mysteries of the universe. This compatibility seems to have increased tenfold. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye couldn't help but sigh. Not only that, he found that Zhao Yufei's body could absorb and merge with the pure true spirit yuan qi. Her skin was pure white and sparkling like jade. It was as if she was half true spirit. This was simply unimaginable. Along the way, even Zhao Feng had benefited quite a bit. While he was cultivating, his root of law could easily absorb the power of heaven-earth lightning. Zhao Feng seemed to be sitting next to a magnet that attracted the heaven-earth yuan qi, and the benefits were unimaginable. It seems that my advancement speed can be doubled. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. This time, Zhao Yufei was like his lucky star. First, she brought the lightning mystic stone, and then attracted so much heaven-earth yuan qi. Above the river where the two of them were cultivating, the qi of heaven and earth was active and throbbing. From time to time, lightning and thunder would flash and produce all kinds of colorful lights. Luckily, most of the geniuses treated this area as a forbidden area and didn't dare come close. Many people knew that the sixth dragon blessing, Zhao Feng, was here, and there was also Mo Tianyi of the first tier. Without the battle power of an overwhelming prodigy, no one dared to offend them. The other overwhelming prodigies also knew about the situation here. Yu Tianhao and Tantan Lanyue even passed by but didn't fight. On a mountain to the west of the river, Goddess Bing Wei's eyes were cold as she looked towards the river, where Zhao Feng was with hatred and unwillingness. Zhao Feng, so you've been hiding here cultivating? It looks like your true cultivation hasn't reached the true mystic rank, and is still half a level away from an overwhelming prodigy. A coldness appeared on Goddess Bing Wei's face. Shua! Goddess Bing Wei's figure flashed and disappeared from the mountain. She didn't fly towards the river, where Zhao Feng was, but in the opposite direction. This Zhao Feng's bloodline power counters mine, and his defense is strong. I alone can't do anything to him. Goddess Bing Wei wasn't blinded by hatred. Even if she went over now, facing Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company teaming up, she wouldn't be able to gain any advantage. Therefore, Goddess Bing Wei soon thought of a plan. Find helpers. As long as she found another overwhelming prodigy that wasn't countered by Zhao Feng, their chances of winning would increase greatly. Apart from her, there was also Yu Tianhao, Taiyun Shuangzi, Tantan Lanyue and Shi Qingtian. First, Goddess Bing Wei eliminated Yu Tianhao from the first one. Yu Tianhao's personality was prideful and disdained teaming up against someone, especially someone below the overwhelming prodigy rank. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, there was no one that Yu Tianhao needed to team up against. Next was Taiyun Shuangzi. Taiyun Shuangzi is strong but cruel and cunning. It'll be difficult to work with him, but it's worth a try. Goddess Bing Wei's eyes twinkled. Then there was Tantan Lanyue and Shiqing Tian. Goddess Bing Wei once again eliminated Tantan Lanyue. Previously, Tantan Lanyue and Shiqing Tian teamed up to fight Yu Tianhao, but didn't get the upper hand at all, and instead suffered heavy losses. Goddess Bing Wei sneak attacked Tantan Lanyue, and had a hard battle. Because of this, Tantan Lanyue's losses increased, and she hated Goddess Bing Wei. This way, the only people she could choose to work with were Taiyun Shuangzi and Shiqing Tian. Taiyun Shuangzi, twin brothers, they have twice the strength of others of the same level. Shiqing Tian, he has the Stone Heart bloodline. His defense is extremely strong, and he once took Yu Tianhao's attack head-on. He also has the gravity talent. Goddess Bing Wei had an idea to find these two overwhelming prodigies. In the light barrier, the auras of the overwhelming prodigies were extremely obvious. Not long after, Goddess Bing Wei found the bloodthirsty Taiyun Shuangzi. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Taiyun Shuangzi's dragon blessing was just below Yu Tianhao's. Zhezhe, Ice Beauty, what do you need from us brothers? Taiyun Shuangzi had 2 heads and 4 eyes that controlled the sword and blade respectively, like a monster of slaughter. One of the heads still had some flesh and blood at the corner of its mouth, and it licked its lips. Taiyun Shuangzi's eyes were filled with greed and lust as they scanned Goddess Bing Wei's body, especially her chest and thighs. Goddess Bing Wei's eyebrows furrowed in obvious disgust. If it was anyone else, she would have used an extreme northern mystic ice wind to leave an ice stick. But Taiyun Shuangzi was an overwhelming prodigy on the same level as her, and had the strength to challenge Yu Tianhao. River Cave. Wang. Zhao Feng's body was surrounded by a layer of azure lightning that released a faint glow. This lightning seemed to have an incredible intelligence, and was ever-changing, sometimes turning into spiderwebs, other times into sharp swords, whips, etc. A azure lightning mystic flower symbol appeared on Zhao Feng's forehead, and was completely different to the original lightning inheritance symbol. His aura was no longer the destructive power of lightning. Instead, there was a sense of spirituality that was more compatible with nature. Inside his dantian was a deep azure source of true spirit. Whether it was in terms of purity or capacity, it was twice as pure as before. Crack! The lightning mystic stone in Zhao Feng's hand exploded into a pile of dust. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man, who were guarding the entrance, let out a sigh of relief with complex expressions. At this moment Zhao Feng, from inside to outside, felt like he was a brand new person. His gaze was as deep as lightning. His elegant blue hair was like a dream in the water, and the azure lightning flower mark between his eyebrows added a mysterious and evil charm to it. From a glance, he seemed to be a lord of the wicked path, confident and devilish. Zhao Feng, your speed of advancement is faster than I imagined. But you've just reached the true mystic rank. Shouldn't you consolidate it? Mo Tianyi saw Zhao Feng stand up and couldn't help but ask. Chapter 368. There's no time. Prepare to fight. Zhao Feng stood up, and his eyes were like lightning as he stared coldly towards the west. Mo Tianyi and the yellow man's expressions changed dramatically. What kind of opponent forced Zhao Feng to come out of seclusion before he could even consolidate his cultivation? Shua. Leaving behind a ghostly afterimage, Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. So fast. The yellow-faced man's mouth was wide open, and he couldn't even react. This movement skill is weird, and seems to be able to fool people's mental energy senses. Mo Tianyi barely caught a blurry figure and saw some clues. So, Mo Tianyi reacted, and immediately chased with the yellow-faced man following closely behind. At this time, Zhao Feng had already flown above the river zone, and stared coldly at the forest to the west. After a while, the faint figure of a golden dragon blessing appeared in the air above the forest. To be able to sense the dragon blessing from so far away, he's probably an overwhelming prodigy. Mo Tianyi's heart dropped, but thinking about the quasi-overwhelming prodigy next to him, he couldn't help but feel hopeful. Zhao Feng stood silently in the air with a solemn expression. The aura of the dragon blessing became stronger. The illusory aura of the golden dragons of fortune. No, there were 2 of them. Not good, there's 2 overwhelming prodigies. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed dramatically. It was no wonder that the usually calm Zhao Feng was so solemn. Run! The same thought flashed through Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's mind. One overwhelming prodigy was scary enough, but now there were 2 of them. How was he supposed to fight them? You guys go back first and protect Yufei. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed, and he took a deep breath. If it was under normal circumstances, he would retreat without hesitation if 2 overwhelming prodigies appeared. However, at this moment, Zhao Yufei was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the true mystic rank. Therefore, Zhao Feng decided to stall for time. If she really couldn't drag it out, then Zhao Yufei could only temporarily lose the chance to advance to the true mystic rank. In any case, she had already condensed the embryonic form of a root of profound, so advancing was only a matter of time. Moreover, Zhao Feng had just come out of seclusion and wanted to feel the progress of his strength. You have to be careful by yourself. If you really can't do it, then I'll have to trouble junior sister Yufei. Mo Tianyi stared deeply at Zhao Feng before retreating with the yellow-faced man. Putting himself in their shoes, if he were to face 2 peerless prodigies at the same time, he would definitely retreat without hesitation. Zhao Feng floated in the air above the river zone. His face was solemn, and his eyes were cold. Gradually they turned cold. Pong! His silhouette flickered as he approached the 2 heavens favorites in a ghostly and unpredictable manner. Rather than passively defending, it was better to take the initiative to attack. The reason why Zhao Feng did this was because he did not want the battle to affect Zhao Yufei's seclusion. In the wild forest of the hills, on a large tree with luxuriant leaves. That brat seems to have found us. A bronze-like giant said in a low voice. When he spoke, the ground seemed to tremble, and the tree he was on started to creak, as if it was going to break at any moment. Shirqingtian, as long as you and I work together, even Yu Tianhao will lose. Goddess Bing Wei revealed a cold smile. According to the original plan, Goddess Bing Wei first went to find Taiyun Shuangzi to work together, but this cruel conjoined people were too arrogant and disdainful, and almost started fighting. After that, she went to find the more honest Shirqingtian. At the start, Shirqingtian was also unwilling, and felt that 2 overwhelming prodigies, teaming up against a black horse was a loss of face. Goddess Bing Wei's lips were almost dry as she tried to persuade him. She even promised that if they succeeded, Zhao Feng's dragon blessing would all go to Shirqingtian. Finally, Shirqingtian was moved and finally agreed. After all, once Zhao Feng's dragon blessing was taken away, any overwhelming prodigy would have a chance to come first. Therefore, the scene in front of them appeared. Goddess Bing Wei and Shirqingtian teamed up and secretly approached Zhao Feng. According to the plan, once they got close, the 2 of them would work together to launch a lightning-fast attack that would kill Zhao Feng and leave him no path of retreat. However, before the 2 even got close, they were discovered by Zhao Feng. Shirqingtian's face went faintly red. If other people knew that 2 overwhelming prodigies teamed up against a new person and even tried to ambush him, how would they have any face left? Right at this time, a burst of laughter sounded. Good. 2 overwhelming prodigies come at me together. The laughter shook heaven and earth, and spread for dozens of miles. This brat was arrogant. The 2 overwhelming prodigies paused. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, apart from Yu Tianhao, no one had ever fought 1 against 2. Zhao Feng's tone was full of disdain towards the 2. What was more subtle was, Zhao Feng's voice was very loud and spread for dozens of miles. Many geniuses heard the news and came over. This brat's so cunning. Goddess Bing Wei sensed something. Indeed, Shirqingtian's face went red as he roared angrily. I, Shirqingtian, am enough to deal with a brat like you. He had no enmity with Zhao Feng, and couldn't lower his face to team up against a new black horse. Even the number 1 black horse. Don't fall for it. Goddess Bing Wei panicked. Goddess Bing Wei, don't worry. My bloodline and cultivation method can definitely counter him. Don't interfere, just stop this brat from running away, Shi Qingtian said in a low voice and warned Goddess Bingwei not to interfere. In front of everyone, even if Shi Qingtian knew that Zhao Feng was trying to provoke him, he had to accept it. This was Zhao Feng's plan, or rather an overt plot. The goal was to stall for time for Zhao Yufei. Fine. Goddess Bingwei nodded her head helplessly. Thinking about it, Shi Qingtian's cultivation method at least wouldn't be countered by Zhao Feng, and should be able to win. The worst result would be both sides being heavily injured and Goddess Bingwei would be able to reap the benefits. In the air above the river, Shi Qingtian was like a small giant, and his body seemed to be made of metal. His height was more than half that of a normal person. Wherever he passed, an indescribable heavy pressure would come from the surroundings. Dong! Dong! With every step he took, a huge pressure surged forth, like a huge mountain. Zhao Feng, who was far away, felt his body become heavy, and his blood and qi of true spirit were blocked. Shi Qingtian, the only overwhelming prodigy that trains in the body. Just his body alone can suppress the late stages of the true mystic rank. He has the rare stone heart bloodline, and his defense is extremely strong, Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. In the first round he had seen every overwhelming prodigy's battle style. This Shi Qingtian's power and body was definitely the strongest of the sacred true dragon gathering geniuses. That invisible, heavy pressure came from Shi Qingtian's body. When one's body was trained to a certain level, the body itself could release an invisible power that could suppress beings to death. Those under the true mystic rank probably couldn't even move in front of Shi Qingtian, and might even spit out blood. Between the river, Zhao Feng and Shi Qingtian didn't give way to each other, and quickly closed in on each other. 10 miles, 9 miles, 7 miles. The distance between the two was slowly closing, up until 3 miles. Shi Qingtian stomped heavily on the ground, and with a boom, a hole several yards wide was left on the ground. He was like a heavy yellow stone cannonball that charged towards Zhao Feng. Whoosh! A mountain-like pressure surged over from the surroundings. Even a great hall made of iron and stone would collapse in an instant. Shi Qingtian's explosive speed had reached a shocking level, and was close to the limits of the true mystic rank. In an instant Shi Qingtian was within a mile radius and suddenly attacked. Roar! The giant man, who looked like he was carrying the world on his shoulders, let out a soul-shaking roar, and a terrifying shockwave swept across a radius of 1 to 2 miles. Whoosh! A forest and a hill beneath them fell to the ground. Zhao Feng circulated his qi of true spirit to protect his vitals. Even so, he was pushed back several yards by a large wave, and his eardrums hurt, and he almost spat out blood. Shi Qingtian's body was extremely strong, and his qi of true spirit was dominating. That roar alone was enough to make most geniuses surrender. Lightning and lightning. Zhao Feng's expression went cold as he swiped at the air with one hand, and the lightning yuan qi above his head started to roar. Qiao! An azure lightning as thick as an arm flashed with a faint purple light, as it slashed across the sky, and landed heavily on Shi Qingtian's body. In an instant, everything within a radius of several hundred feet was scorched, and the trees were set ablaze. The lightning was an attack that Zhao Feng had comprehended after his root of law had stabilized and fused the lightning inheritance and the lightning intent within the lightning mystic stone. This kind of attack used the power of the heaven-earth lightning and had high requirements for the root of law, as well as the comprehension of lightning and lightning. This brat's strength has risen so quickly. Goddess Bingwei, watching from afar, was slightly surprised. The power and damage of that lightning and lightning just now was almost at the level of an overwhelming prodigy's attack. More importantly, Zhao Feng didn't use his bloodline power or the god's spiritual eye. Of course, Goddess Bingwei wasn't worried. Shi Qingtian's defense was the same as her, and amongst the 5 overwhelming prodigies, he was one of the best and stronger than the other overwhelming prodigies. Boom! Lightning exploded, but Shi Qingtian's figure didn't move. His entire body had a hard brownish-yellow shell, like that of a stone. There was only a tiny, barely noticeable black mark left on his skin. A layer of crystal yellow light flowed down, and it showed signs of gradually healing. What powerful defense! This Shurqingtian has an earth attribute bloodline and doesn't need to work hard to comprehend the root of law. Even if Zhao Feng had prepared his defense, he was still shocked. That attack just now was just a test, but its power couldn't be underestimated. Even Mo Tianyi, who was at the first tier, would find it hard to deal with it, not to mention using his body to block it. Ha ha ha. Blue-haired brat, your strength is only SOSO. It seems like it was just your luck that you were able to fight Goddess Bingwei to a draw. Shurqingtian roared as he charged towards Zhao Feng with a mountain-like brown-yellow light. Rumble. Everywhere the bronze-like giant passed, the mountains, rivers and trees collapsed and dust rose. Zhao Feng's figure was so small, as if he was suppressed to the point where he couldn't move, and didn't even have the ability to resist. Zhao Feng's eyes were cold like lightning, and his blue hair danced in the wind. The green lightning flower mark on his forehead flashed, making him look like the ruler of the evil path. Shua! The electric light let out a sizzling sound, leaving behind a phantom image in its place. Shurqingtian's eyes blurred and lost sight of Zhao Feng. Peng! Suddenly, a foot wrapped in lightning kicked towards his noisy mouth. Chapter 369. Peng. Fu. As the lightning shifted, a cold figure with elegant blue hair appeared above Shurqingtian's head. Green lightning gathered in his leg and kicked Shurqingtian's mouth. Wu. Shurqingtian's figure stopped and his voice stopped. His expression and actions were as if he had eaten a pile of shit and choked on it. The geniuses watching from afar were tongue-tied and stunned. Goddess Bingwei's phoenix eyes were dazed. Time seemed to freeze at this moment. Zhao Feng's kick not only landed on Shurqingtian's mouth, the tip of his foot also protruded into Shurqingtian's mouth. Instantly, the edge of Shurqingtian's mouth was scorched black. An overwhelming prodigy like him had finally paid the price for underestimating his opponent. However, Zhao Feng didn't have the upper hand. What a strong body! Zhao Feng's kick seemed to have landed on a mountain, and his foot went numb. Shurqingtian reacted and roared, causing the earth to tremble as his fist punched towards Zhao Feng. Simple and simple. Before the fist even arrived, the wind from it could make normal true mystic rank spit out blood. Once hit by the fist, the result would be unimaginable. Shua shua. Leaving behind an afterimage, Zhao Feng flew dozens of yards behind Shurqingtian. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng was stronger than Shurqingtian. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Shurqingtian's body was the strongest, and his defense was almost unparalleled. Only his speed was average. Ice lightning mystic flower. Zhao Feng raised his palm and merged his bloodline power with his chi of true spirit. An aura of ice and lightning instantly enveloped Shurqingtian's body. Boom! A flower of ice and thunder several dozen zhang in diameter blossomed magnificently. Lightning and thunder exploded as cold light wreaked havoc. After reaching the true mystic rank, Zhao Feng's power of ice and lightning was more perfect, and its power increased greatly. In these few days of seclusion, Zhao Feng had absorbed the power of the lightning profound stone, and comprehended the pure origin of lightning and thunder. This allowed Zhao Feng's control over the power of lightning and thunder to reach a whole new level. Zhao Feng's lightning inheritance had vaguely touched the highest 3rd level, and it had gradually broken away from the shackles of the original inheritance. It had merged with the profound meaning of the lightning profound stone, and the essence of the mystic flower treasured Bible. This palm should be able to threaten the peerless geniuses. Zhao Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. With a flash of lightning, he appeared above Shurqingtian's head again. After the dust and light dispersed, Shurqingtian's brownish-yellow shell, that looked like stone, had threads of crystalline yellow luster on its surface. He was actually unharmed. Hiss! Zhao Feng sucked in a cold breath. His god's spiritual eye saw through Shurqingtian's body, and found that the surface of his skin had almost turned into stone, almost exceeding the limits of flesh and blood. That stone-like outer shell had a strong immunity to lightning, ice, and other kinds of attacks. It's useless. Shurqingtian's body defense is invincible under the true lord rank. Only someone with an extremely corrosive bloodline, or a wood attribute cultivation technique, can pose a threat to him. Goddess Bingwei, who was watching from afar, wasn't surprised. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Only Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body's defense could be compared to Shi Qingtian's, but in terms of strength, it was still miles away. Zhao Feng's attacks mainly contained the elements of lightning and ice, while the Mystic Flower Treasure Bible was wicked and didn't have strong elemental attributes. However, neither lightning nor ice could counter Shi Qingtian's earth element. Zhao Feng obviously didn't specialize in the wood element or dark corrosive skills. Blue-haired brat. You'll pay the price for your ignorance. Shi Qingtian roared towards the sky, raising both his arms high up. The surface of his stone skin shone with a strange earthen yellow profound light before disappearing. Not good. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye sensed something. The next instant, his body fell down as if it was 10,000 pounds. An invisible force pulled Zhao Feng down bit by bit. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng had merged with the Lightning Inheritance and the Mystic Flower Treasure Bible, so he obviously surpassed Shi Qingtian. However, if there was 100,000 pounds on his body, no matter how fast he was, his speed would be reduced. Peng! Zhao Feng's figure landed on the ground, and his breathing became heavy as his body was under great pressure. With every step he took, he had to expend several times more strength than usual. It could be said that every step was extremely difficult. This is Shi Qingtian's bloodline talent gravity domain. Although Shi Qingtian's speed isn't fast, his bloodline talent can greatly reduce the opponent's speed. Goddess Bingwei snickered coldly. This was also why if she teamed up with Shi Qingtian, even Yu Tianhao would most likely be defeated. Shi Qingtian's gravity domain along with her domain of ice could seal off normal true lord ranks. Breaking Mountain Fist. Shi Qingtian's fist gave off a layer of crystal yellow ripples. The air and the ground constantly trembled. It was as if his fist was pushing a giant mountain. Under the gravity domain, Zhao Feng's speed was reduced by 60 to 70%, and was even slower than Shi Qingtian. The latter was like a fish in water. Peng! Boom! Shi Qingtian's terrifying fist locked onto Zhao Feng, and he couldn't dodge it. Zhao Feng felt a sense of danger, and without hesitation, he took out the 3-flowered treasured lotus, and a throne appeared behind him. It was as if the power of the immemorial era had passed through space. Ice lightning break. Zhao Feng thrust out his palm, and a giant figure of ice roared like a dragon, accompanied by a flurry of lightning. This palm was more focused on the condensation of ice. A layer of frost immediately condensed in all directions, and icy winds and cold currents wreaked havoc. Shi Qingtian was more or less affected, and every bit closer he got to Zhao Feng would decrease his speed. This move, it's obvious that he secretly learned the secret art of the profound ice inheritance. Goddess Bingwei, who was watching from afar, couldn't help but grit her teeth. Goddess Bingwei's cultivation technique's power wasn't as great as its speed reduction, freezing and freezing. Her opponent would have already turned into an ice statue when she got close, but unfortunately Zhao Feng countered her. Zhao Feng's ice lightning break had stolen some of Goddess Bingwei's skills, and used it on his bloodline power. Boom! Shi Qingtian finally got close to Zhao Feng, and took a blow from the 3-flowered treasured lotus. The petals of the 3-flowered treasured lotus instantly cracked, and the light dimmed by more than half. Zhao Feng used the force of the 3-flowered treasured lotus to fly back dozens of yards, before his Yin shadow cloak flapped, and his figure disappeared. With the help of the 3-flowered treasured lotus, Zhao Feng flew back dozens of yards, and with a shake of the Yin shadow cloak, his figure disappeared. Shi Qingtian, who had the advantage, found that Zhao Feng had disappeared and couldn't help but watch. He was confident that in the gravity domain, Zhao Feng's speed would be reduced by more than half, and he would have no advantage at all. At this moment, Shi Qingtian let out a breath after successfully suppressing Zhao Feng. Before fighting, he didn't think that the number 1 black horse of the new generation would be so hard to deal with. Shua! A mile away, the dim lightning figure turned into Zhao Feng's figure. This Shi Qingtian is actually suppressing me. The speed that Zhao Feng was so proud of was greatly reduced in front of Shi Qingtian. In reality, any genius that was skilled in speed would be at a disadvantage in front of Shi Qingtian. At this time, Zhao Feng had already escaped from Shi Qingtian's gravity domain. The range of the gravity domain didn't exceed 100 yards. Looks like close combat is no good. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye quickly spun and redesigned his strategy. Once he got close, Zhao Feng's speed would be countered. Strong defense, strong close combat, average speed, slightly clumsy. A cold and wicked smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Shua. A crystal blue bow appeared in his hand, and the 3 silver arrows instantly returned to their positions. Long-range weapon. Shi Qingtian's expression changed slightly when he saw the change in Zhao Feng's body. Shi Qingtian obviously knew his weakness. Close combat was strong but long range, and air combat weren't his forte. Zhao Feng quickly found his opponent's weakness after probing. Roar! Shi Qingtian roared and charged toward Zhao Feng with a yellow gust of wind. Being an overwhelming prodigy, Shi Qingtian's speed wasn't slow, and was at least faster than those at the late stages of the true mystic rank. His short burst speed was also shocking as he chased after Zhao Feng. Eye of Ice Soul. Zhao Feng's left eye was like an endless abyss, and an invisible coldness seeped into the mental energy dimension. Shi Qingtian only felt his heart go cold, and his speed instantly decreased. An extreme coldness froze his consciousness, and ignored the defense of his stone skin. Mental energy attacks could ignore the physical dimension. Even if Shi Qingtian's stone skin was 10 times stronger, it wouldn't be of any help to the Eye of Ice Soul. On the contrary, it would be useful against the lightning fire god's eye. See, Shi Qingtian's speed decreased by half, and his movements became stiff. He was a body cultivator, and his mental energy source wasn't strong, and was even more clumsy facing the Eye of Ice Soul. Hee. Zhao Feng stood in the distance, a knowing smile on his face. The Eye of Ice Soul, that didn't have any effect on Goddess Bingwei, had such an obvious effect on Shi Qingtian. Brat you! Shi Qingtian trembled and roared in anger, but his expression was frozen. His body temperature was obviously hot, but the coldness seemed to cover his entire body. His thoughts were frozen, and he was clumsy. Bung! Bung so. Zhao Feng stood far away and slowly pulled the bowstring. The Luoho bow released an icy blue light, and shot out arrows of ice and lightning that landed on Shi Qingtian's body with a series of explosions. Shi Qingtian howled, but the distance between him and Zhao Feng seemed to be an endless ice mountain. Boom! The power of ice and lightning condensed and exploded on Shi Qingtian's body again and again. Unfortunately, the power of ice could slow down and condense, while the power of lightning had a numbing effect. With each arrow, Shi Qingtian's body would stiffen, and with the Eye of Ice Soul, the effect was multiplied. The Eye of Ice Soul isn't strong in an instant, but it's suitable for a long time. Zhao Feng opened the Eye of Ice Soul, and continued to lock onto Shi Qingtian. The Eye of Ice Soul was a mental energy attack, and his mental energy source was strong, so his endurance didn't need to be said. 10 breaths later, Shi Qingtian's body was covered in ice and black smoke rose from his body. He paused with each step, and stopped with each step. Zhao Feng used the Eye of Ice Soul and the Luoho bow to successfully control the situation. His attacks were also very shameless, as he continuously shot at a joint on Shi Qingtian's leg. No matter how strong a defense was, if there was a single point that was constantly attacked, even if it was impregnable, it would still be breached. How can it be like this? Goddess Bingwei, who was watching from afar, paled, unable to believe what had just happened. Of the 5 prodigies, apart from Yu Tianhao, she couldn't think of a second person that could force Shi Qingtian to this level. Chapter 370. This was a battle between heaven's favorites, so naturally, there were many spectators. Inside the light membrane space, within a radius of 100 miles, the number of geniuses who were secretly watching the battle increased from a few people to a dozen, then a few dozens. On a lone peak in the northwest corner, a ferocious 2-headed 4-armed Siamese was watching the battle from afar. Zhezhe. It's best if we wait until they're both heavily injured before we charge over and destroy them. Taiyan Shuangshuang laughed weirdly. That bitch Goddess Bingwei wants us to fight for her. Jie, how could it be so easy? No one can order us around. Taiyan Shuangshuang said cunningly. Taiyan Shuangshuang didn't agree to work with Goddess Bingwei, and instead watched from the shadows. The situation was going smoothly and Goddess Bingwei and Taiyun Shuangshuang went to fight. The prey in the eyes of the overwhelming prodigies was unimaginably strong, and was fighting against the overwhelming prodigies. The stone man has been completely suppressed. The stone man can't even fight back against that guy. Taiyun Shuangshuang's two faces were filled with shock as he stared at the battlefield in disbelief. Between the rivers, Zhao Feng used his Eye of Ice Soul and froze Shi Qingtian's consciousness as he sped around. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Every time the Luoho Bao's ice and thunder arrows attacked, Shi Qingtian would feel a chill run down his spine. Roar! Shi Qingtian roared towards the sky and almost went crazy, but he couldn't change the fact that he was slow and stiff. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't even get close to his opponent. How sad was this? Although his defense was strong, Zhao Feng's Luoho Bao continued to attack his knees, and the damage continued to accumulate. As time went on, Shi Qingtian's consciousness was slightly injured. This was because he had a soul treasure that could block and weaken mental energy attacks, or else the damage to his consciousness would be several times worse. It was obvious that Shi Qingtian's seniors had prepared a soul treasure before the sacred True Dragon gathering. Ancient Colosseum. On the spectating stand and stage, the experts of the continent, including some sovereigns, were all watching this battle. Zhao Feng! Zhao Feng! Some of the younger generation spectating the battle couldn't help exclaiming in excitement and worship. Many people had personally witnessed this youth's miraculous rise step by step. I can't believe he became a new peerless prodigy in such a short time. Before, when he fought Goddess Bingwei, it was a draw, but now he's beaten Shi Qingtian to the point where he can't fight back at all. The spectator stands were bustling with noise. More than 99% of the people were paying attention to this battle. From the start of the sacred True Dragon gathering until now, a new genius had successfully defeated the overwhelming prodigies and created a new glory. Junior brother Zhao, you were actually able to reach this step. I will definitely bring this good news back to the 13 countries and the Broken Moon clan to master. Tears welled up in Yang Gan's eyes as his body trembled with excitement. At this moment, he was overjoyed to the point of insanity. The Broken Moon clan has such a genius. When brother Zhao returns to the 13 countries, he'll definitely change the situation in the cloud area. Yang Gan was pleasantly surprised and expectant. With Zhao Feng's current growth rate, his strength would definitely increase after the sacred True Dragon gathering ended, and he entered the inheritance. On the stage, the 9 sovereigns silently watched the battle between Zhao Feng and Shi Qingtian. Zhao Feng has indeed reached the level of an overwhelming prodigy. This is the 6th overwhelming prodigy. Will there be a 7th or even more? The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord murmured with expectation in his eyes. At this moment, no one doubted Zhao Feng's strength or his status as an overwhelming prodigy, becoming an overwhelming prodigy at the age of 17. In this era, only Yu Tianhao and a few other overwhelming prodigies could be compared to him. This Zhao Feng's strength isn't much different from Shi Qingtian, but he can always find the flaws of others. The mystic sword sovereign sighed. That's right. No one is perfect and there's no perfect skill in the world. This Zhao Feng can always find the flaws of others. That's his trump card. The Green Moon sovereign nodded her head in agreement. She had been paying attention to Zhao Feng for a long time, and at the beginning it was because of the little thieving cat. But if this continues, Shi Qingtian's leg might be crippled. A sovereign's eyebrows furrowed. Every overwhelming prodigy was a prodigy that would only appear once in several generations. They could be said to be the future sovereigns that would decide the fate of the continent. If allowed, the Sacred Alliance wouldn't let any accidents happen to any overwhelming prodigy, even if they were crippled. Within the bubble of light, Shi Qingtian's knee was suffering from the continuous attacks from the Luoho Bao, and he was limping as he ran. He shot dozens of arrows. Each arrow is filled with ice and lightning, and is enough to threaten an overwhelming prodigy, but he's only lightly injured. Zhao Feng, who was in the middle of drawing his bow, was also surprised. Even someone at the True Lord rank would lose a layer of skin if they didn't die from this many arrows. Of course, in just a dozen or so breaths, the outcome of the battle was decided. Shi Qingtian's mind was injured and his mental energy reaction was slow. His knee was injured and his speed decreased. Even in close combat, Zhao Feng could crush Shi Qingtian. Shameless bastard. Don't be arrogant. Goddess Bingwei reacted and charged towards Zhao Feng in a streak of cold light. At this moment she couldn't care about what she promised Shi Qingtian. It's too late. Zhao Feng smiled and put away the Luoho Bao as an azure lightning flame flashed in his left eye. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng's Lightning Fire God's Eye first locked onto Shi Qingtian. Not good. Tell him to stop. The expressions of the sovereigns on the stage changed. Before this, Zhao Feng's ice and lightning attacks had continuously damaged Shi Qingtian's body. Shi Qingtian's stone-like body became incomparably cold, hard and brittle. The cold power of the ice soul continued to freeze his mind. If he were to launch another attack and instantly explode with the super-powerful Thunder Fire God's Eye, turning from extreme cold to extreme heat, it would bring great harm to Shi Qingtian, whether it was his body or his spirit. However, even if they knew this, the sovereigns on the stage couldn't stop it. The Sacred True Dragon Gathering had lost control of the Sacred Alliance and was controlled by the ancient arena. At this moment, Shi Qingtian also felt a fatal sense of danger. He tried his best to kneel on the ground and cover his head with his hands. This way, he could avoid the fatal attack and reduce the damage by more than half. Boom! A ball of fierce lightning fire landed on Goddess Bingwei. You! Goddess Bingwei was shocked and enraged as lightning and fire exploded on her body. The transparent power of lightning and fire quickly eroded into the mental energy dimension and burned. It was obvious that the Lightning Fire God's Eye countered Goddess Bingwei's Mystic Ice technique. Compared to the first round, Zhao Feng's Lightning Fire God's Eye had reached a whole new level. In the past few days of seclusion, Zhao Feng had absorbed the purer lightning yuan qi from the lightning mystic stone and purposely raised his true spirit lightning flame. This sudden eye flame caught Goddess Bingwei off guard, and her mind was lightly injured. Her snow-white skin was scorched black. Hu on the other side, Shi Qingtian covered his head with his hands and curled up on the ground. Finding that the Lightning Fire God's Eye didn't land on him, he let out a long breath with lingering fear. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was extremely fast and could definitely attack him before he could cover his head. If Zhao Feng was a bit more cunning and aimed the Lightning Fire God's Eye at his slightly crippled knee, it could definitely cripple Shi Qingtian's leg. Why didn't he attack me? Shi Qingtian had just survived the calamity and was puzzled. At this time he found that Goddess Bingwei had been attacked by the Lightning Fire God's Eye and was at a disadvantage. The river was in a mess. The two overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bingwei and Shi Qingtian, one in the air and one on the ground, both seemed to be in a ruffled state. Goddess Bingwei's snow-white skin, including her face, had many black burn marks on it. Her black hair was emitting green smoke, which made her look like an explosive bird's nest. She did not look like a fairy at all. Shi Qingtian was hugging his head on the ground, and one of his legs was almost crippled. His actions were slow and stiff. Ha ha ha. Outside the arena, earth-shattering laughter could be heard from the spectator stands. This Zhao Feng is smarter than I thought. The sovereigns couldn't help but smile and let out a breath. Zhao Feng didn't attack Shi Qingtian, and instead used shock to intimidate the two overwhelming prodigies. This was more effective than attacking the enemy directly. Of course, more people were stunned by Zhao Feng's terrifying strength and inconceivable control. The geniuses who were watching the battle from the shadows were all shocked. What kind of scene was this? In their vision, Zhao Feng's blue hair blew in the wind as he stood with his hands behind his back. An azure lightning mystic flower flashed on his forehead, and his eyes were cold as he looked down on the two ruffled, overwhelming prodigies. This cold and evil youth was like a monarch of the evil path, controlling the situation with a single hand, defeating one overwhelming prodigy and intimidating the other with one move. What kind of method was this? The geniuses and experts all held their breaths. Many people couldn't help but think, what kind of era was this? After Yu Tianhao and the 5 overwhelming prodigies, another monster had appeared. In a short amount of time, Shi Qingtian and Goddess Bingwei didn't move rashly. Shi Qingtian was injured and his battle power was greatly reduced, so he didn't have the heart to fight. Goddess Bingwei had been struck by the lightning fire god's eye and her mind was injured. She found that Shi Qingtian's battle power was greatly reduced and hesitated. At this point in time, Zhao Feng faced the two overwhelming prodigies confidently and had the aura of fighting one against two. Shameless bastard. Goddess Bingwei's eyes were filled with cold killing intent and anger. Ever since she had reached the overwhelming prodigy level, when had she lost face like this? She put out the thunderfire burn on her mind and secretly communicated with Shi Qingtian with her divine sense. I've lost. Shi Qingtian smiled bitterly and didn't have the heart to fight anymore. He even felt lucky that Zhao Feng didn't kill him. Shi Qingtian retreated. Only Goddess Bingwei was left facing off against Zhao Feng. Her jade-like skin gave off a bone-chilling coldness. Chapter 371. In the air above the river, Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei met for the second time, and the aura of the true spirit realm in the air caused lightning to crackle and cold wind to howl. That shameless bastard. He made my sister miss the sacred true dragon gathering, and secretly learned our mystic ice inheritance. Goddess Bingwei's eyes flashed with coldness and unwillingness as her chest heaved up and down. Her snow-white skin glowed as she circulated her mystic ice jade charming body to the maximum, and a powerful aura of coldness enveloped 100-yard radius. This coldness reached the bone marrow, and even had an effect similar to Zhao Feng's Eye of Ice Soul. Bloodline secret technique has been activated, and my defense has increased. My damaged skin has quickly recovered, and the coldness has formed a domain. Zhao Feng's heart jumped as he found that Goddess Bingwei's strength was hidden deeper than he had imagined. In just a few breaths, Goddess Bingwei's skin was flawless and as smooth as glass. The only thing that couldn't be healed in a short amount of time was the damage to her mind. This is the power of the domain of ice. Using the bloodline secret technique of the mystic ice jade charming body to freeze everything nearby. Even overwhelming prodigies of the same rank will be greatly slowed down. Mo Tianyi floated to the surface of the water and watched the battle. Before, when Zhao Feng defeated Shi Qingtian, he was shocked, but the process was short. Now that Zhao Feng was fighting Goddess Bingwei again, Mo Tianyi wasn't worried. After all, Zhao Feng's bloodline countered Goddess Bingwei, and the lightning fire god's eye flame also countered Goddess Bingwei. The power of the domain of ice. If this technique was combined with Shi Qingtian's gravity domain, the effect would more than double. Zhao Feng thought and understood Goddess Bingwei and Shi Qingtian's original plan. Once the domain of ice and the gravity domain was combined, even those at the True Lord rank would be restricted. No one in the sacred True Dragon gathering would be able to counter it. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. Goddess Bingwei sent out a berserk icy wind that swept across a mile radius, instantly freezing the river. Zhao Feng's blood and chi of true spirit froze. If he didn't have the corresponding bloodline power, Goddess Bingwei would be a very troublesome opponent, and he would be on the defensive. Buzz! Behind Zhao Feng, an imposing, tall, and illusory figure of ice light appeared. The silhouette became clearer, including the frozen throne. Goddess Bingwei's ice attacks were absorbed a lot when they got close. Zhao Feng's body was protected by a kind of cold energy that increased his defense, especially against ice-type attacks. Profound Ice Demon Suppression Mountain. Goddess Bingwei let out a shout and quickly closed in. She waved her hand and shot out several giant ice mountains that smashed down from the sky. What is this Goddess Bingwei planning? Zhao Feng was puzzled. With a wave of his hand, the two sources of true spirit in his body shattered the ice mountain with a few palms. Compared to before, Zhao Feng's fight with Goddess Bingwei was much easier. Wuxia! Goddess Bingwei's eyes were cold as she closed in, and the domain of ice enveloped Zhao Feng. As Zhao Feng fell into the limitless domain of ice, the figure of ice and throne behind him continued to absorb and convert the power of the ice. Although the domain of ice is strong, its effect is greatly reduced for me. Zhao Feng was puzzled. The domain of ice used extreme coldness to freeze all beings and objects within range. However, for Zhao Feng, the effect was reduced by 70%. Goddess Bingwei was wasting her bloodline power. But soon, Zhao Feng felt something was wrong. Goddess Bingwei kept on closing in, and the domain of ice was getting closer and closer to the core. This was because the core of the domain of ice was Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body. However, in close combat, Zhao Feng wasn't afraid of Goddess Bingwei. Peng Peng. The power of ice and lightning blossomed and clashed again and again. Zhao Feng became more and more courageous, and his qi of true spirit flowed more smoothly. Goddess Bingwei couldn't gain any advantage in close combat. Zhao Feng indeed had the battle power of an overwhelming prodigy, and his bloodline countered her. Whether it was close combat or long range, he wasn't afraid. Of course, Zhao Feng's bloodline power couldn't do anything to Goddess Bingwei. Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body's defense was extremely strong, and was almost immune to normal ice attacks. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng used his bloodline power, and his eye flame wreaked havoc on Goddess Bingwei. However, under the domain of ice, the Lightning Fire God's Eye's effect on Goddess Bingwei was weakened. Furthermore, Goddess Bingwei was constantly on guard against the Lightning Fire God's Eye, and wasn't caught off guard like before. Zhao Feng's Lightning Fire God's Eye only did a small amount of damage to Goddess Bingwei's mind. Goddess Bingwei let out a muffled groan as she bit her snow-white teeth, and took the attack head-on. There must be a scheme. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he found Goddess Bingwei kept on fighting him. In close combat, the domain of ice did indeed affect Zhao Feng's speed. However, Zhao Feng found that Goddess Bingwei's close combat abilities were very average. She didn't have Shi Qingtian's strength nor his agility. Zhao Feng soon found a flaw in Goddess Bingwei's battle. Ice Lightning Mystic Flower. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed as he sent a palm towards Goddess Bingwei. Goddess Bingwei's hands parted, and her chest was exposed. Goddess Bingwei's expression changed as she tried to dodge. Phew! But it was too late. Zhao Feng's palm landed near the chest of the girl with the snow-white skin. Zhao Feng felt something was wrong as he felt his palm hit Goddess Bingwei's full chest. Ah! He instantly paused and his face went slightly red. In terms of defense, Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body wasn't any weaker than Shi Qingtian's powerful body. Not to mention the cushioning of her breasts. Furthermore, the mystic ice jade charming body was almost completely immune to ice attacks. Zhao Feng didn't even injure Goddess Bingwei with this palm. Crap. I've been tricked. Zhao Feng realized the situation wasn't good. Goddess Bingwei had purposely left a flaw for him. As expected, he saw Goddess Bingwei reveal a mocking smile. He was just about to retreat when he saw Goddess Bingwei's domain of ice reach its limit. A terrifying and fatal coldness approached Zhao Feng, and his blood almost froze as he shuddered. Not only that, as Goddess Bingwei took the attack, she opened her arms and hugged Zhao Feng. Ah! Exclamations of surprise came from all over the place. The nearby spectators all had their mouths wide open as they stared dazedly. In the ancient arena, the various experts in the spectator area were all stunned, and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. That's right. Goddess Bingwei hugged Zhao Feng tightly. If it was any other scene, people would think they were a couple in love. Hee, Zhao Feng's been tricked. The Mystic Ice Queen's lips curled into a smile. Zhao Feng stood still being hugged tightly by Goddess Bingwei. A bone-chilling coldness spread throughout his body. Being hugged by such a beautiful ice beauty should be a blissful thing, but to Zhao Feng, it was like stepping into an endless abyss of ice. Limitless coldness sealed Zhao Feng's body. In the blink of an eye, a layer of ice formed on Zhao Feng's body, and the coldness tried to freeze his qi of true spirit and bloodline power. This Goddess Bingwei is so shameless, using her chest to tempt me and freeze me. Zhao Feng's body froze and started to tremble. He hugged Goddess Bingwei like this. First it was a warm and fragrant body, then it was endless cold and hard. The two were inches apart. Zhao Feng's mouth almost kissed Goddess Bingwei's jade-like face. Goddess Bingwei was like a goddess of ice, her mouth curled with cold killing intent. In terms of ice mastery, apart from his bloodline power, Zhao Feng was more than a level lower than Goddess Bingwei. At such a close distance, Zhao Feng's speed advantage was useless. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't want to struggle. Goddess Bingwei's cultivation was 1 or 2 levels higher than his, and her chi of true spirit was pure. She also had a bloodline power, and had cultivated the mystic ice jade charming body, so her body was stronger than his. Ice mastery was Goddess Bingwei's domain, and she obviously suppressed Zhao Feng. Being hugged like this, Zhao Feng's body went stiff. His entire body was covered in ice, and he couldn't break free. CC. With visible speed, Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei's bodies started to turn into ice. Zhao Feng's body was completely sealed in ice, and Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body was like a crystal, and her movements weren't affected at all. In just a few breaths, everything within 100 yards was frozen, and even those at the true mystic rank couldn't get close. In the center of the snow and ice, a male and female ice statue hugged each other like a pair of immortals. Mo Tianyi, who was watching from the back, was dazed. Shi Qingtian sat dazedly nearby and felt a layer of ice spread over him. What was going on? The geniuses within 100 miles had their mouths open so wide that an apple could be stuffed in. What's going on? Why are the two of them sealed in ice? Goddess Bingwei is so cunning. I knew she didn't have any good intentions. Taiyun Shuangzi, who was on the lone peak, stared at the frozen man and woman in shock. At the same time, in the eastern direction, the heaven-earth yuan qi in the air started to tremble. One boom! The air and earth seemed to tremble. Rainbow-colored clouds of heaven-earth yuan qi roiled around the river. Sister Yufei has broken through, Mo Tianyi exclaimed. A powerful true mystic rank aura appeared out of nowhere. Limitless yuan qi of the heaven-earth yuan qi formed a shocking scene. Only those at the true lord rank can summon the heaven-earth yuan qi. How is this possible? The experts in the ancient arena couldn't help but exclaim. In the air above Zhao Yufei's breakthrough, the heaven-earth yuan qi formed beautiful clouds, as if it was being pampered by the heavens. What kind of bloodline is this? It's almost as powerful as the true lord rank when it reaches the true mystic rank. The 9 sovereigns all revealed expressions of shock. This scene could only be seen in legends, such as the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch, Sword Saint Yi Wuxia, or Yu Tianhao. At the same time, Wang, an enormous figure, appeared in the air above the ancient arena, and a powerful inheritance aura swept over. Chapter 372. The instant Zhao Yufei reached the true mystic rank, a new inheritance projection appeared in the ancient arena. This inheritance projection was shockingly large, and gave off a cold aura that suppressed the nearby inheritance projections. The inheritance projections that had already appeared were instantly pushed aside. Everyone focused their gazes and looked at the floating images in the sky. They saw that the palaces were like sparkling and translucent ice jade. They could only vaguely make out the outlines of the palaces that were covered in snow and ice. Mystic Ice Inheritance, the Mystic Ice Queen exclaimed as she stared at the inheritance projection in joy. The Mystic Ice Palace had guarded one of the entrances to the Mystic Ice Inheritance, and understood it extremely well. However, being one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance obviously wasn't so simple to be controlled by a single force. The Mystic Ice Palace only controlled one of the entrances to the Mystic Ice Inheritance. Only the Sacred True Dragon Gathering could allow the main inheritance of the Mystic Ice Inheritance to connect with the ancient arena. One of the 4 great inheritances, Mystic Ice Inheritance. Ice cultivators are lucky. The ancient arena was in an uproar. Being one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance only appeared once every 1,000 or even several thousand years. Once the Mystic Ice Inheritance appeared, some of the lost ice path cultivation techniques, treasures, and natural treasures would appear on the continent, which could promote the development of the ice path cultivation on the continent. It could be said that the appearance of any one of the 4 great inheritances would greatly affect the fate of the continent. Amongst them, the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance was the most ancient and mysterious. Every time it appeared, it would change the situation of the continent. This is the second of the 4 great inheritances. Unfortunately, the previous Scarlet Moon Inheritance was taken by the Scarlet Moon Demonic Religion. Sovereign Yu Tianhao sighed. The appearance of each inheritance isn't a coincidence. There must be geniuses that fit the requirements. The bronze-skinned giant's eyes turned towards the area of light. More accurately speaking, his eyes locked onto Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei, who were sealed in ice. It's probably Goddess Bingwei's powerful bloodline, an ice cultivation technique, that resonates with the mystic ice inheritance. Adding on the fact that this generation's dragon blessing is so strong, maybe it's related to Zhao Feng. His bloodline is also of the ice element, and it's a pure ancient bloodline. The venerables nodded in agreement. The appearance of the profound ice inheritance was naturally a good thing. The Sacred Alliance was overjoyed, and had even greater expectations. After all, the sacred true dragon gathering hadn't reached the end yet. Among the 9 venerables, there was a white-robed old Taoist with a sage-like demeanor. He had been silent all this time. He only took a quick glance at the profound ice inheritance. Most of his attention was on the scene of Zhao Yufei advancing. The 10,000 ancient races are the strongest bloodlines in the universe. Any one of these bloodlines is no less valuable than one of the 4 great inheritances. The white-robed old Taoist stared at him without moving. In his eyes, the bloodline phenomenon of Zhao Yufei reaching the true mystic rank was even more important than connecting to an inheritance. The white-robed old Taoist was Zhao Yufei's master, the supreme elder of the Heaven Yuan sect, and also a member of the Sacred Alliance. The white-robed Taoist didn't speak much about this sacred true dragon gathering. This was because he was carrying a big secret like Zhao Yufei, even if he had not confirmed it yet. Apart from the other Grand Elder of the Heaven Yuan sect, no one else knew this secret. At this moment in time, Zhao Yufei had reached the true mystic rank, and her bloodline was extremely shocking. Other sovereigns might sense it. Once the secret was confirmed and leaked, especially to the outer realms, it would be hard to predict the consequences of the white-robed Taoist priest. At the very least, the Heaven Yuan sect would not be able to control the situation. Therefore, the white-robed old Taoist was uneasy. Luckily, the appearance of the mystic ice inheritance shifted everyone's attention. Dao Sovereign Baiyun, that Zhao Yufei seems to be your disciple. Her bloodline sign of reaching the true mystic rank isn't simple. The Green Moon Sovereign smiled faintly, and noticed the white-robed old Taoist's nervous expression. The white-robed old Taoist was Dao Sovereign Baiyun, one of the 9 sovereigns present. Hehe, so it's Dao Sovereign Baiyun's disciple. Her bloodline talent is indeed strong. She might be another overwhelming prodigy comparable to Sword Saint Yi Wuxia. From the looks of it, this girl has reached the true mystic rank, and her bloodline power is at least close to that of an overwhelming prodigy. The sovereigns all congratulated her and praised her. Dao Sovereign Baiyun pretended to be worried. My disciple has reached the true mystic rank too quickly, and might cause her foundation to be unstable. In reality, he knew clearly that Zhao Yufei's bloodline was innately compatible with the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi, and her Qi of true spirit was extremely pure. In the light membrane space, near the river zone, colorful flowers of Yuan Qi bloomed one after another. It was a magnificent sight. The cave at the bottom of the river. Zhao Yufei's skin was as white as crystal jade, and it even appeared to be translucent. There was also a layer of faint colorful light, like a flower bud that was about to bloom. Her pretty face was tranquil, and under the illumination of the faint multicolored light, there was a kind of elegant and holy aura. With her as the center, the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi resonated with her. She felt that the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi was extremely close, as if it was her mother. With every breath, she could easily summon the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi. The resonance with the Heaven-Earth was 10 times stronger than normal true mystic ranks, and was comparable to the true Lord rank. In a short while, her true force cultivation easily surpassed the initial stages of the true mystic rank, and approached the early stages of the true mystic rank. After breaking through to the true mystic rank, she had stepped into a whole new world. Everything happened naturally. Luckily, she was hiding in the cave, and no one outside could see her actual situation. Of course, those at the true Lord rank and Sovereign rank would be able to see things from outside. This is an unprecedented cultivation bloodline. As long as one's mental energy level reaches a certain level, they can break through without any obstructions. The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord couldn't help but feel envious. This bloodline suddenly made him think of something. Could it be? That's impossible. The thought was rejected by the bronze-skinned man himself. The rainbow-colored clouds lingered near the river zone for a moment, before the various phenomena slowly faded. Zhao Yufei seemed to find that her foundation wasn't strong enough, or else she would be able to reach the early stages of the true mystic rank in one go. If it was Zhao Feng with this bloodline, he would be able to reach the early stages, or even the late stages of the true mystic rank in one go. However, there was no such thing as a perfect bloodline. Zhao Feng's bloodline leaned towards mental energy, and his mental energy level was unparalleled. On the other hand, Zhao Yufei leaned towards true force and yuan qi. Her true force cultivation increased by leaps and bounds, but her mental energy level couldn't keep up. In the river, in a world of ice and snow, Zhao Feng had turned into an ice statue and was hugged by Goddess Bingwei. Bastard! Let's see how long you can last. In terms of cultivation and mastery of the ice Dao, you're far below me. Goddess Bingwei's skin turned into ice as she hugged Zhao Feng. The two maintained this hug for half the time it took to make tea. Goddess Bingwei's power of ice is still moving. This means that Zhao Feng hasn't been completely sealed in ice. Mo Tianyi didn't know what to do. He was going to save Zhao Feng, but Sister Yufei was also in seclusion. Senior brother, according to our agreement, Zhao Feng is in seclusion trying to break through to the true mystic rank, and will protect him. Now that the agreement has been completed, whether we save him or not isn't part of the agreement. Furthermore, we can't get close to the depths of the ice. Probably only an overwhelming prodigy can change the situation. The yellow-faced man shook his head. Mo Tianyi was helpless, but could only do this. If Goddess Bingwei used her bloodline power of ice, normal true mystic ranks would most likely be frozen as well. This was especially so in the depths of the ice where normal true mystic ranks wouldn't be able to move. Under this situation, Mo Tianyi and company decided to put Sister Zhao Yufei's safety first. Zhao Feng was after all an outsider. Want to completely freeze me? Don't even think about it. In the center of the ice, although Zhao Feng's body was sealed in ice, his qi of true spirit didn't give up. As long as his mental energy consciousness was there, he could control his bloodline and qi of true spirit. His ice-attributed bloodline absorbed most of the ice and allowed his bloodline to continue. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had two sources of true spirit, one for himself and one for the water moon pirate. In this dangerous situation, Zhao Feng tried to preserve his qi of true spirit and burn the water moon pirate's qi of true spirit. In terms of grade, the water moon pirate's qi of true spirit was still higher than Zhao Feng's. Under the burning of his qi of true spirit, Zhao Feng's resistance increased greatly. Of course, he could only burn a small amount of his qi of true spirit, or else his body wouldn't be able to handle it, and might even explode. This brat's burning his qi of true spirit. Let's waste a bit of his energy, and maybe he'll fall back to the true human rank. Goddess Bingwei snickered coldly in her heart. At the edge of the ice-sealed area, Shi Qingtian sat on the ground and healed. Far away on the lone mountain, Taiyun Shuangzi's cunning eyes stared at the situation over here. Zhizha, beat them all up. It's best if they're all crippled, and we'll kill them all at once. Taiyun Shuangzi's second brother had an expectant look. However, the battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei lasted longer than expected. In the blink of an eye, almost an hour had passed. The battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei had yet to be decided. In the end, she's still the overwhelming prodigy of several generations. It's all my fault for underestimating her and falling for her trap. Zhao Feng didn't dare burn a large amount of his qi of true spirit, and didn't dare burn his source of true spirit. Because his body was sealed in ice, the burning qi of true spirit lacked an outlet, and could only slowly wear it down with Goddess Bingwei. Under this situation, it was a battle of endurance. Zhao Feng didn't need to worry, as he could give up the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. Could Goddess Bingwei do that? Brother Mo, Sister Yufei has broken through. Should we call her out to help? The yellow-faced man said. No need. She's just broken through and most likely won't be able to help. Mo Tianyi shook his head. At the same time, in a secluded valley in the light membrane space, your Xi in Wuheng? The black-haired Yu Tianhao stared at the ordinary-looking man sitting cross-legged on the big rock across from him, with his deep and spacious black eyes. Why did you chase me for so long? I'm not your match. You should know that no one is your match in the sacred True Dragon gathering. Xi in Wuheng shook his head and sighed. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.